fade in, fade in, fade in, fade in, fade in.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Are you bummed that Luke didn't get sort of a reunion with Han Solo?
Absolutely. In fact, when I was reading it, I thought, if Leia's trying to mentally contact me and she's not successful, she'll rush to his aid. She'll get close to him and then get into some dire situation, and that's when I show up for a big yay, save her life. Then we rush to Han and are in the same position that Rey and Finn and Chewie are. Too late to save him, but witnesses. And I say, because it would carry so much emotional resonance into the next film. For us, his wife, his best friend to witness, instead of two characters that have known him, what, 20 minutes?
Well, you're assuming that I train Rey.
Exactly. Sneaky.
Do I?
Sneaky.
I know, I have to be really careful. People say, was it difficult to pick up and wield a lightsaber again? And I go, do I pick up?
Is it difficult acting in this movie? Am
Well,
I in this movie?
I can promise you my part is twice as big as it was in Force Awakens. When I read 8, I told Ryan, I fundamentally disagree with virtually everything you've decided about my character.
Who is this guy? How did the most optimistic, hopeful character in the galaxy turn into this hermit who says it's time for the Jedi to end? I read that and I said, what? I mean, that's not what a Jedi does. I mean, a Jedi is optimistic. A Jedi has tenacity. He never gives up. He doesn't secrete himself on an island. But you'll...
Something that George initially set out to do was a kind of 3-act saga with these 3 trilogies. And I think we felt that we should honor and respect that.
Liar! Liar! Liar!
I think that the thing that George never did was maintain the status quo. And I think that that's really important because...
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you! I've kind of lost control of Star Wars, so it's going off in a different path than what I intended. But the first 6 are very much mine and my philosophy. And I think that philosophy sort of goes beyond any particular time, because it's based on history, it's based on philosophy, it's based on a lot of things. And you know, the first 3 basically tell you how a democracy turns into a dictatorship, and you end up with a tyrant, the emperor. It's a very important now, where we are now in our political history.
And as always, may the force be with you.
I'm kind of retarded.
Fade in.
I forgot to add myself to the show. What's up, all my Ewoks, Triples, Droids, and Wookiees? It's Anna, also known as that Star Wars girl. And in today's video thing, and the stuff I'm going to be talking about today, is the groundbreaking podcast. And I don't know what else it is. Money laundering scheme. Feminist Frequency is coming to a close because... You know, I know everybody loved it. I know it was like the bestest ever. But from what I gathered from this just podcast episode, Anita Sarkeesian is calling it quits after 15 years because she's tired, believe it or not. So I have this pulled up. So we are going to listen to this podcast. I made it about, I guess, 3 minutes in, and I was like, I'm losing my mind. I had it on as background while I was editing another video, and I was like, there's absolutely no way. I'm just gonna do a live stream and listen to it with all of you wonderful people. So it's just it's hell already. But we are all gonna listen and EFAP it together. There's actually controversy going on right now about reaction YouTubers and streamers, but I think I get enough complaints at how much I interrupt the people that I EFAP, so I think I'm in the good. But so yeah, let's I'm gonna listen to this cancer show, so you guys all have to listen to it with me. I'm gonna go back to the beginning. Put a 1 in the chat if the audio is okay. Okay, put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear it, all right? I'll wait for a minute. When will you be? Oh, 1's okay, cool. Somebody said 2. Well, that's probably because I paused it. When will you be unboxing PO box presents? I actually need to go to my PO box again. I went recently and had a bunch of comics that I got, but I need to go again and check. All right, pretty much everyone says 1. My audio is fine. Don't know about the video. All right, I'll let it play for like 20 seconds. You guys tell me if you guys can hear it. Okay. All right. Could you guys hear the stream okay? I don't hear anything. We hear you, Anna. Oh, damn it. No audio. It's muted. All right. Let's see if I can figure this out because I'm streaming. I'm doing this through OBS, so all of my tags are here. I'm going to try to be like Eric July and all my other friends that do shows where they split up their live streams, and I want all of my tags to be here. So can't hear. All right, let's see. That's very strange. Okay, let's try this again. Could you hear that? Yay. If not, I can just do it the hard way. I could always do it the hard way. I don't know why it's being like this. I can only hear you, Anna. That's very irritating. Oh, you know what? It's because... All right, let me see. Okay, whatever. I'll stop doing it like this and we can just, we can go like this. Let me do that. Let's go back to me. Hello, I'm very, very zoomed in because I was doing the OBS. I need to figure this out on my own time, not on your guys' time, not when I'm live. Also, I don't know why it's so laggy. It might, no, now I'm too short. All right, that's perfect. We'll just cut off the top of my head. That's fine. I'll just do this. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Now we can see if you guys can hear it, and I'll do this. Or maybe I can do this. Yeah? No? I wish we could switch like sides of the screen. I'll just do this so I'm bigger. That way they don't cry about me talking. Okay, let's stop studio mode. Let's get my tags and let's bring them kind of right there. I can put them right here. Isn't this cool? No BS fun. Okay. I have all my tags, so I'm a little extra right now. Now tell me if you guys can hear this.
Congratulate you on this decision.
Yes, thank you.
Can we start there? I feel like this took a...
Could you hear that? Technical difficulties. It is 3:30 in the morning for me, which, by the way, I'm back on my vampire schedule. If you guys didn't know, I'm naturally a night owl. Like, I just get more done at night. I think I am meant to. I think I was supposed to be a vampire or a werewolf, one or the other. I think with the amount of body hair I was born with and like facial hair I was born with, I was probably a werewolf. But I just call it vampire schedule because it's easy. Maybe I am a vampire because I'm very picky on the things that I like, and vampires are so picky they only drink one thing. Oh, thank you for the super chats, by the way. Nick Wilson became a new member. Thank you, Nick. And then you sent me a 99-cent super chat, which is a sticker and it's a mouth open with drool. Charlie Spur, thank you for that. She needs a rich benefactor like Noms has. Timothy Molcherlev, thank you for the super chat. Drink up me hearties. Oh, well, thank you. All I have is my caffeine, basically. Now, I really, really, really just wanted to play my Star Wars video game. If you guys don't follow me on Twitch, oh yeah, let me do a shameless plug while we wait for all of this to get started. So, in case you guys don't know, I have a Twitch channel, which I know everyone's moving over to Kick. Twitch treats me very well, at least. I guess I haven't pissed them off yet, but I'm like a partner over there. They always contact me and like they make sure I'm doing okay and everything. So I was like, oh wow, you're actually nice to me. They treat me a lot better than YouTube does. Oh, look at how I moved all my tags over now. It's all weird. Okay, let me share my screen again. So we're just gonna go over here. So if you guys didn't, okay, so go follow me on Twitch. Here is the link. I go live on my Twitch more than I go live on this channel. I play video games over on Twitch and I paint on Twitch. So go over there and follow me on Twitch. I was literally live for 5 hours yesterday playing Jedi Fallen Order. Everyone says I need to play Jedi Survivor, but I have to play Fallen Order first. So go over there and follow me there. I was going to go live on Twitch after I finished editing my video for today on this channel. But then I was like having this stream playing in the background. I was like, I can't do this. Remember, I only got 3 minutes and 21 seconds in. And I'm like, I can't do this. We're going to EFAP this hell because I'm not. If I have to listen to this entire podcast, so do you guys. So we're going to do this together. So I'm making you guys sit through hell with me. But yeah, so I've been playing a lot of games over on Twitch. I played all of Elden Ring on Twitch. I'm planning on eventually playing all the Dark Souls games. And I decided I wanted to move my painting streams over on Twitch. I do enjoy streaming on Twitch. Funny enough, it's because the platform was literally made to be streamed on. And it works a lot better, and they don't slap you on the wrist for streaming like YouTube does. And YouTube has been treating me like shit. So I've been streaming on Twitch. So go follow me over on Twitch if you guys want to catch more of my streams. And then also, of course, I have my cosplay calendar. Thank you guys so much for coming out and supporting it. I ended my campaign at 91,000 and now I'm up to 94,000. So thank you guys so much. If you guys want to support the channel and support me, go and back my cosplay calendar. But now, without further ado, let's all sit in pain together. I got to share my audio. Let's all sit in pain together and listen to this hell of a podcast, right? So Anita Sarkeesian is this crazy ultra feminist that basically ruined video games. She's like, oh, everything is sexist. Women can't look hot because women don't look that in real life. It's like, hun, just because you're not hot in real life doesn't mean there aren't women that are hot in real life. Also, as a woman, when I play video games, I don't want to play as some ugly chick. If I'm in a video game, I want to be like the peak physical fitness, hotness, feminized everything. Like when I'm in a video game, I literally want to be the badass, hottest chick there is. But when I play as chicks, I usually actually prefer to play as male characters, but that's just me. It's like whatever. I think I don't know. I feel like the guys don't have the uglier outfits. Like nowadays, women, they are so ugly. It's ridiculous. I was like, I don't want to play as some ugly fat chick with a beard. Like I already have to deal with my own like stuff in real life. Like if I didn't like wax my entire face, I would look like an extra in the Planet of the Apes without any makeup like that. It's like, why would I want to play as that in like a video game. And like, it's realistic. I'm like, you're in a world with fucking dragons where you die every 2 seconds and magically come back to life. It's not realistic. The gameplay is not realistic. So why does the character all of a sudden have to be realistic? It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, you got a villain with like arms coming out of every orifice of their body. They're oozing this. It doesn't make any sense anatomically how they work. The magic doesn't, like, nothing about it is realistic. So why do the characters specifically the women characters, why do they have to be the epitome of realism? It doesn't make any sense to me. No, make them fucking hot, make them badass. Let me have pretty hairstyles and pretty outfits. What I had to do in Elden Ring was I had to basically have my chick running around naked just so you could tell she was a fucking girl. It's like, oh my God, like they're so ugly. It took forever. I think it took me 2 hours to customize that chick to make her look somewhat feminine. Like, yeah, feminine. That was the word I was looking for. And it was hell. And it was like, why is she flat chested? Why does she have no ass? You get the dudes and they're like these yoked, like sexy, muscly men. And yeah, you put the clothes on them so it covers up their muscle, but you can make them scruffy looking. You can make them look like Aragorn from Lord of the Rings or Legolas. Or it's like, okay, so the guys get to look hot, but why are the chicks fucking hideous? Like, it's because of this bitch. This chick right here, Anita Sarkeesian. We, all of us women that, and all of you men that like playing the video games and want to have your characters look hot, you can thank this chick for making that so it doesn't happen anymore. So this chick, her podcast, her company is ending. So this is a 1 hour and 3 minute and 27 second podcast. We're about 1 minute and 36 seconds in. Here we go.
This took a lot. This whole thing took a lot, but really just coming to this decision, saying it's time. Like, I think a lot of people would be afraid to do that.
Yeah, I think so too. It's interesting. We've been like prepping for months. We made this decision a few months back, and we've been prepping and talking to community partners, and everyone is kind of like, do I say I'm sorry or congratulations? Like, they don't really know how to react to this news.
I think all of us are just like, what even was this? Like, what was the point of this? Who cares? I think that's what we all would say, right? Who the fuck cares?
And it is, it's a good thing for me personally.
Yeah.
So I will take the congratulations. This is a big deal. It's so interesting because I'm not really sure how people are going to react. I have a kind of an inkling based on just.
Oh, you already know she's going to go pull people's pigtails on Twitter to get attention. That's what this whole announcement was, because it's like, what have they really done? Like, she's going to go on how this has been going on for 15 years. I'm like, what have you done in 15 years aside from ruin everything you like interact with? Like, what have you done? But apparently she's done so much. Also, guys, there's over 300 people here. Good morning. Good morning. Smash that like button, please. And thank you. Thank you. It says, call me Tim. Thank you, Tim, for the super chat. The whole is Russian savvy. I don't know what you mean. Diano, thank you for the $10 or the 10 pound super sticker. Let me see what it is. A little doggy holding a heart. Thank you. Nate Memes, thank you. Super chat. Never seen a werewolf that easy on the eyes, Anna. Whoa, man, did you not watch Van Helsing? It's not a good movie. I will say that. Like, it's one of those not well-made movies, but it had that potential. Hugh Jackman. Remember in Van Helsing when Hugh Jackman becomes a werewolf? Like, when he's in his human form, he's still technically a werewolf. Like that. Also, did you not watch Underworld? Like, they all have, like... I feel like all of them were, like, good-looking people. But thank you for the compliment, even though I don't know. I think you and I have very different versions of what we find attractive. Let's see. All right. Goddamn. 2 minutes in.
Just the like, dozen or so people who know already, but we've been doing this for 14 years. It'll be like 15 years by the time it's actually like buttoned up and done. And I feel like most people have jobs for like
years.
I don't know, 2 to 5 years or something. And so I was a little bit like, yeah, this is okay.
Yeah.
Like it's okay that I do something else now. But it's hard when
What is she gonna do?
your identity, like my identity and like how I'm known is attached to this. Like this was my organization. I mean, obviously run with an enormous amount of help, but it is very tied to me as an individual. And I'm a little bit tired, it's just, I've been tired for a long time and I haven't been willing to admit it.
That she's tired. So being an unbearable cunt is tiring. You wouldn't say. Or no, the saying is you don't say, right? So ruining everything you touch is tiring. Well, you know what? She's like, what am I going to do now? It's like anything but what you have been doing. It literally do anything else. You know what would be funny is if she became like a housewife. Is if she became like the very thing she claimed like she was against. Where she's like, I don't want to work anymore. And I just want to be married and have a man pay all of my bills and like just give me a credit card. What if that's what's going on? I feel bad for any guy that's going to marry her, but I don't know. There's someone out there for everyone, right? That would be hilarious, though. I would find it amusing. Let's see. Tim, thank you for the super chat. My whole name is Russian. I mean, also, you sound like Ahsoka. Oh, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Also, thank you for the super chat. All right, here we go.
Or be willing to like kind of let this go. And I think unfortunately it is happening because I overdid it. Like I pushed myself a little too far. And I'm at such an extreme level of burnout with this particular type of work. And I just kind of need to step back from it.
You just touched on so many things that we're going to have to come back to because each of them requires a little more of a conversation. But one thing that strikes me is you saying like, oh, people have jobs for like 2 to 5 years. This is like a decade and a half that has also come with so much change. Like it may be
Oh my God. So people only have jobs for 2.5 years. What the fuck? Okay, so what about like everyone that has like a job that with a 401k? Like for somebody to say you only have a job for like 2 to 5 years, that's like if you're in college and you're working, like that's teenage shit. That's not full-grown adult shit. Like people, you get a job, you have a career. When you change jobs, that messes up your retirement, that messes up your 401k. But this is coming from women that have never really had to work for anything. And all they do is destroy everything they touch. This is like the embodiment of fucking entitlement. 3 minutes in. I'm not even 5 minutes into this podcast. Like your career is something you've only done for 2 years. I would understand if she was in her 20s, like her early 20s. This is, or so where you're not old enough to have worked at a job for more than a decade. If you guys understand what I mean, but something tells I feel like I know that this woman is like what she's in her like has to be mid-30s, like minimum mid-30s if she's not already in her 40s. So you only have a job for 2 years. Really? Save time, listen fast speed. Oh my God, you are right. I cannot believe I didn't think about that. Okay, let's go. What speed? Where's the speed? Playback speed. Okay, we're going to go 1.5. We'll see if that's too slow. Russian dude, thank you for the super chat. It's a great thing. Ahsoka is amazing, and she interacted with one of my favorite villains, Tarkin. One old Peter Cushing's greatest roles. I like watching like the old Hammer films with Peter and Christopher Lee. Yeah, those were good. What was the one? There was one movie. It's a Hammer film where there's like 4 different stories. And one of them, there's like a wax museum and like there's some kind of wax doll. It's like very bizarre. And then it's in the same one where Christopher Lee, his daughter is like, her mom was a witch. And so he won't let the daughter play with dolls and he's got to get a nanny. And then the nanny gets her a doll and he freaks out because he's like, you can't because she'll possess them. Anita Sarkeesian. Oh, she's 40. She's 40. That makes sense. All right, let's see if this 1.5 speed is better.
Was something for a couple of years, and then it turned into something else for a couple of years, and it grew and it grew and it grew. And we're not here to do the history lesson on feminist frequency. People will be able to get their hands on the annual report next year, which I think will have a little bit more of a look back. But can you talk a little bit about that, about the kind of reaction, like responsive way that you've acted over the last 14 years with this? Like, it wasn't just like, I'm setting out to do X and I did X for 14 years. It was nothing like that.
Yeah, nothing like that. Yeah, it's interesting because
So she's been ruining video games and movies and all of the entertainment industry for 14 years. That's her job. That's her job. Anna, drink some honey for that fry. Fuck off. I hate honey. Honey is disgusting. All right, here we go.
because you're right. Like, it has been a lot of different things, which is kind of why I think I was able to continue doing it, because, you know, we would adjust with the times to some degree. When I first started, I just made videos and that was just a thing. And some people watched them occasionally. And then it kind of, you know, people forget or don't know that feminist frequency existed before the tropes in the video game series.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing this for a while before that even started. And then when the Tropes Kickstarter got the attention that it got, it also came with being an activist around online harassment and abuse. So it became two jobs.
You know what? This bitch is so guilty of online harassment and abuse. You know who she's abusing? The gaming industry. All of the female characters that she's saying like are inappropriate and male gaze. You know what? Maybe they wanted to be drawn that way. Maybe they wanted to be designed that way. She is abusing everyone that enjoyed things. So online entertainment and abuse, she is the abuser in that sense. Yeah, exactly. Who could have seen this coming? I know, right? I know, right? Who would have known? Russian guy with the super jet that says it's okay. You don't have to correct yourself, but thank you for the super jet. That yellow spider guy, thank you for being a member for 3 months. Oh my gosh, they finally have member chats highlighted. This is amazing. Sorry, I won't see you at Anime Matsuri. Are you going to New York City Comic Con? If they approve my fucking press passes, they will. Who would have thought that New York City Comic Con is harder to get press passes for than San Diego Comic Con? Isn't that bizarre? I don't understand it. I probably won't. But yeah, have fun at Anime Matsuri though. All right. Let's get back to this.
It became 200 jobs really, but it really became like, I'm doing media criticism. I'm talking about what is in the games and how that impacts us and how we can make games be better for larger and different audiences. And also talking about how do we make the internet a safer place for folks? How do we support people who are being attacked? And those are like two.
Maybe stop attacking them. Who the fuck cares? These things that are happening in video games. Bitch, I bet you haven't even played a video game. You're attacking my enjoyment of a video game. Me as a woman, you have put a huge damper on my enjoyment of video games as a freaking woman, because when I go into a video game, I want to be the baddest, hottest chick there ever fucking was. I don't want to look anything like me. I want to be tall. I want to be super muscular. I want to look like Wonder fucking Woman on, like, I don't know, whatever, like the limitless pill of awesomeness. And you know what I get? I get frumpy, like hobo chick that put on a costume. Like, that's what I get now. That is ruining my enjoyment of a video game. That is ruining my fantasy. And it's all because of this bitch. I hate it. I hate it. I am glad this podcast is ending.
Very intense jobs on their own,
Yeah.
you know, like, so trying to juggle both of those constantly was a challenge. And so we did that. And then at some point I was like, well, we've already, like, the landscape changed so significantly from when I first started doing this. So people were not really doing educational videos online. Like, there was definitely like a crew of people, but there weren't a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there weren't people doing like hours-long videos about like cultural analysis. And so at some point I was like, you know.
Did you guys hear that? Anita Sarkeesian is one of the first people, groundbreaking, to do educational stuff on the internet. She is the first one doing hour-long videos, educational videos on the internet. Can you guys believe that? What amazing. Amazing. Good for her. Good for her. Wow. Jesus fucking Christ. The audacity. Like, oh my God.
The landscape has changed. People doing web video commentary, sort of left tube, bread tube, as people call it, like became a thing when it wasn't before. And I was like, well, I don't need to keep doing this because there are younger, more excited people with different analysis and like younger, fresher analysis that can come in and do some of this work. So we really shifted gears. And that's when Jay joined us and we started doing more work directly about abuse and harassment and how do we support people in that way, because there's such a void. There's such a hole there in terms of.
There has been no one there to support me and my enjoyment of video games. I get harassed all the time by weirdos on the fucking internet. They're like, oh, you tweeted LOL on a photo or on an article. We're going to make fun of your dog that died years ago because we stalked your Twitter profile and we saw a post from years ago of you talking about how your family dog died. A dog who the average lifespan of these dogs is 13 years and she lived 13 years. How absolutely crazy. And I get harassed by those weirdos. I got called a Nazi yesterday. A Nazi, right? I'm like, I got called a Nazi by like the whitest dude ever. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure your light skin, light hair, and blue eyes would make Hitler pick you over me. But it's like, where's my support? I get traumatized by playing these hideous hags in video games, which I'm stuck with. You have to play the hideous hag in the video game or play as a dude. And the dudes look significantly better. But where's my support, Anita? Oh, yeah, that's right. You caused it. You caused all the stupid shit in the video games. This is ridiculous.
Like how to get support if you're struggling. And that's not to say that there weren't like, again, people were not talking about mental health in games or mental health generally in a mainstream way as they are now. And so we kind of just like plugged into that next sort of phase of how we're talking about games and how we're thinking about how games are made, who's making them, how are they being treated, and all that kind of stuff. So I do think of feminist frequency kind of as two big phases of, the media, the cultural media analysis, and then the mental health, like working to end abuse, changing games culture piece of it.
Abuse. So she apparently is an educational trend starter and a spokesperson for abuse. That's what we've gotten in 7 minutes, is what we're learning. I guess I didn't flash play.
Which we've been doing more recently.
Yeah, Jay, I feel like you kind of have gone through a microcosmic version of the same thing, of just a lot of change over the last couple of years since coming in to run the Games and Online Harassment Hotline. Can you talk to people about that and about kind of what's grown, what's changed, and what people can expect next?
Yeah, it's been so much growing. And
you know what I just remembered? What about how she harassed The Mandalorian, like the creators of The Mandalorian? I'm not usually one to stick up for Disney Star Wars, but this bitch went online on Twitter and she's complaining that there was no female characters in The Mandalorian that spoke, and she spelled Mandalorian wrong, even though she posted a fucking screenshot of the poster that had the word in it. And it's like, well, bitch, you didn't watch the episode because the leader of the Mandalorian tribe was a fucking woman, and she literally is forging shit and talking more than the main character. So it's like, what about when you harass showmakers complaining about there not being enough women? Huh? What about when you did that? Gosh, these people are ridiculous. Death Trot, thank you for the super chat. She's not quitting because she's tired. She's quitting because she's irrelevant. That's a good point. Mark's art, thank you for the super chat. Good morning, Anna. What a wonderful surprise to wake up to a live stream. I find the people who attack video games are the ones who don't play them. That's literally it for everything. It's always it. It's the people that don't know anything about you that attack you. It's the people that don't play video games, the people that don't read comics, the people that don't watch movies. They're the ones that have a problem with it. Very ironic. Thank you for the second too. Listening to this woman is more painful than having my wisdom teeth pulled on Monday. Totally off topic. I was watching this one. I think the guy must have been on Joe Rogan, but he was talking. It was like a clip on Instagram. And the guy was talking about how when you look back at all of the skeletons that they find from people that have passed, they all have straight teeth. He's like, no people needed braces. Every skeleton that you find has straight teeth. Every animal that you find has straight teeth. And it's because our mouths are getting smaller. And he's like, all the people in the history of humankind never had to have their wisdom teeth pulled out. And he said, it's because our jaws have gotten smaller. And that's why we have crooked teeth, and that's why we need our wisdom teeth removed. Funny fact. I was like, oh, I never thought about that. Interesting. All right, let's get back to this hell.
Learning kind of by the nature of this work, Anita was just like describing it in these two phases. And I think when we decided we wanted to have this different role of how do we like try and change the industry? How do we change game spaces and offer support and show what support could look like in game spaces and around online harassment? That's a really different role. And as a hotline too, it's our job to listen and to provide what folks are asking for, which was such a journey. I feel like I first was hearing about this idea, this potential in about 2019. And I was talking with my friend Vu, who I play TTRPGs with. He was my Vampire the Masquerade GM, and brought up one day that I was thinking about games and a hotline being maybe a mental health type resource. And that was just really so many intersections of my passion and my life. And so I started talking to him a little bit about that in 2019, and then was brought on in 2020 as officially part of the team to help launch this thing. And even in that process, we took most of the year of 2020 to think through things and set up our infrastructure. We were really making guesses, pretty informed guesses based on Anita.
2020? I'm sorry, but 2020 wasn't 15 years ago. Where are they getting this math? That feminist frequency has been around. Has it? I don't understand. 2020. It's 2023. Where are they getting this number? I'm so deeply confused by this. I'm a woman. I'm not good at math. There's plenty of women that are good at math. I am not one of them. The second that there's numbers, I'm like, nope. Stay away. I don't want to know. I want to know the numbers. But oh my gosh. This hurts my brain. This hurts my brain. Cesario Japan, thank you for the $10 super chat. I'm not resting my laurels, Anita scam Nissen. It's totally gone from grifting. Another YouTuber thinks judging from past commentary, she's going elsewhere on an even more controversial topic. Atheism? Oh wait, anti-Semitism. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. I don't know why I thought that was atheist. I think the N and the T together with the E after kind of fucks me up. I don't know why. People ask me to explain dyslexia. I'm like, I don't fucking know. If I knew, I would be able to fix it, right? But anti-Semitism, is she Jewish? What is she going to talk about? I think we can all agree judging someone for their cultural and religious beliefs and their physical, I feel like there was a debate if Jews are a race. I was taught that they were because you can be ethnically Jewish. Because you're a Jew if your mother is a Jew. So you're born a Jew, and then there's the religious Jews and the cult, culturally a Jew. So I don't know the semantics of that. I'm just if a person tells me they're Jewish, I'm like, cool. As long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else, I don't really care, what you do. But I just, what is she going to do? What is she going to go fight Nazis? Because I'm so deeply confused by that statement. What is she going to do? Everyone agrees. Yes. Persecuting people because of religious or culture or how they appear in that sense, yes, is bad. We all agree on that, right? What the fuck is she gonna do? Isn't she Armenian? What, can Armenian people not be Jewish? I'm so confused. That's why I don't understand. I don't think I will ever understand this woman, and I'm kind of okay with that because if I could understand this type of insanity, and I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, I don't know. I don't have empathy for stupidness, I guess. Or I can't empathize with that kind of stupidity. Charlie Spur thinks that's right, Anna. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. That should be her phrase, huh? Amity, thank you for the super chat. This fool tried to invent an industry to wedge herself into, and she ended up becoming irrelevant in the very monstrosity that she created. Monstrosity. Sorry. Remember, guys, it's 5:14 in the morning for me. My dyslexic ass can't read right now. Russian dude, thank you for the super chat. If I may be so bold, it was up to me, I'd make Maleficent the big bad again in Kingdom Hearts. Did they change that because of her? Did they? I don't know. We ain't claiming her. Why, are you Jewish? Is that what it is? Isn't Rini Jewish? No, I think Rini is Polish, right? Rini's Polish. Okay, let's go back to this.
As just knowledge and experience being in the industry for so long, as well as just, things that we had heard about from other survivors and targets of harassment about what we might prepare for. But then really just like the first week running, it was like, oh, we didn't think about that at all.
Right.
Then, certain themes and topics would come through in different seasons, and we'd be like, okay, we need to be more ready for that next time. And so even just running the hotline has been such a iterative and evolutionary process. It's been kind of exciting to stay on our toes in this different way.
And for people who are listening, I want to make sure that they go to that website. Both Feminist Frequency and the game's hotline website will have details about what's next. But for the hotline, people can still contact the hotline until the end of September. Is that right?
Yeah, till September 30th.
Wait, so it's just the hotline that's in the... Oh, so it's where people call in and cry about their problems, which I guarantee is no one. So they just had this phone service that no one was talking to. Wow. Okay, so that's what it's ending. But all the other internet things, this is just a way for them to get attention. That's all that is. If it's all they're ending is ending their hotline service so she doesn't have to pay someone to answer phone calls from the magical people that don't call her, aside from people that are telemarketers. Wow.
Okay. And then there's a bunch of resources. So you're going to be seeing these continue to pop up on your social media over the next couple of months, and they're going to be living on the website. So resources for the workplace, resources for employees, resources for gamers. I think I want to make sure that people know that stuff's not going away. The catalog or the library of Feminist Frequency is also not going away. We'll talk more about that later. But can you tell our listeners, Jay, a little bit about Respec, which is a program that will still be continuing?
Yeah. So we started Respec in the summer of 2022. We had been working, one of the things that, as I mentioned, we really didn't anticipate.
Again, everything that they've listed has happened within the past 3 years. 2022 was last year. So what are they ending? The phone line is ending, but they're like, oh, but this is still going to be here. This is still going to be here. So basically all you're doing is ending your little phone call thing and then making this big deal like, we're ending everything forever so you can get clout. That's all this is. Dear Lord. I have to listen to this. For those asking what I'm eating string cheese. I like string cheese. I really like cheese, but I like string cheese a lot. It's a good snack. All right. I guess I had a couple super chats come in. Let's see. Russian dude, I answered that. Junior, thank you for the 10. Early morning Anna is fun, Anna. Thank you. This is just like well slept, Anna. This is probably about noon for me. No, maybe later. Maybe later my time. I'm on my vampire schedule again. So I've been up all night. I guess it's 5 a.m. So yeah. I don't know. I came out to my computer at like 11. So I've been sitting in this chair since 11. So I guess that's kind of a while into my work day. But yeah. Also, guys, there's over 400 people watching. Please smash the like button, please, and thank you. All right. I keep distracting myself from this help, but let's get back to it.
Anticipate when we launched the hotline was the fact that folks who had caused harassment, abuse, and harm would start texting in. And so we definitely had to kind of build up new training modules for our agents and different ways of taking those conversations so that we could offer the support that we wanted to offer while still kind of holding a line of accountability and hopefully holding the door open to change, because so many of the folks that we were talking to were bringing to us like the shame. And
when I hear the word accountability and it's not coming from an adult talking to a child, I immediately roll my eyes. And I'm like, you're one of those people that goes on Twitter and fights with everyone and has to check everyone and keep everyone in line, but they have none of that for themselves. That's what I get from this. Also, I feel like I just want to skip past everything that this woman says. And I don't even know if it's a woman or not, because it doesn't sound like one. Ron Crossman, thank you for that. You should have went to Tampa. It was a great time. I was going to, but so my two best friends from high school got married this year. Well, one of them had like a thing. Well, it's complicated. She had a bridal shower, which turned into a surprise wedding. And then she also got married in Tennessee. So she had like two weddings. And then my other best friend is getting married in September, but she also already got married. She eloped in Paris so they could do everything in front of the Eiffel Tower. And they're having the reception for everyone. And so it's like I had that wedding or those weddings. I also had Chrissy's wedding in New York, and now I'm engaged, so I have to plan my own wedding. And I was like, I could either go to cons that happen every single year, or I could go to these people, my best friends from high school. I could go to their weddings and Chrissy's wedding. Now, weddings that usually, hopefully, only happen once in a lifetime for people, or cons that happen every year. So I chose my friends over the con. So I apologize for that. I did go to San Diego. I'll go to local cons, but far away, that's going to be hard for me for the foreseeable future. So we'll see. But sorry, I didn't see you, man. Mark, sorry, thanks for that. It seems that Star Trek showrunners are trying to ruin the good feeling the Picard season 3 left us with. Did you see Strange New World is coming out with a musical episode? Yes, but that's nothing new. Grey's Anatomy came out with a musical episode. I think Doctor Who did. I don't care. I don't watch it. You know? And I mean, Ahura used to sing in the original series. I'm like, eh. If it's like a holodeck episode, that could be funny, but well, I guess it doesn't take place in Next Generation, so they don't have holodecks. So it's going to be hell. Russian dude, thanks for that. All right, Snips, I'll see you later, and maybe may the force be with you. Your content is amazing. Oh well, thank you. Have a nice day, Russian dude. Thank you for stopping by and donating to the channel. I appreciate it. Anna is burning the midnight oil. Fuck yeah. Okay. Let's see. Super Jets will get you to Houston. That's literally like next weekend, man. I cannot get there then. All right, let's get back to hell.
And regret and embarrassment that they felt around the actions that they had done, as well as the like pain and sadness and isolation they were feeling after, being faced with consequences for their action. And so we wanted to hold all of that. And as we did, we really found that there weren't a lot of resources for folks who wanted to change their behavior. And folks were really kind of feeling a lot of confusion and, again, a lot of that isolation as their two main struggles towards changing their behavior. And so
behavior. What are they doing? What's going on? What are the consequences? What did they do? Is it you fucks bothering people on the internet and harassing people because you don't like what they're saying, you don't like what they're doing, you don't like what they look like? Is it you? Why are there no details here? No wonder their company's going out of business. All right, here we go.
So we're like, well, what if we started this support groupy kind of, or the supportive space where folks could actually come together who shared that experience, right? All people who had caused harm in game spaces, and kind of process and go through those things together. If we're all committed to accountability in some way, we have this shared experience, can we, rather than doing it on our own, together, like pull apart some of what happened and figure out, and work through that confusion of what needs to actually change to be a person that doesn't do that anymore. So we started that last summer and have been running it, since then. And it has been actually like really hope-giving and transformative, and in a space that is very different from the hotline, but holds a lot of the same values, and gives me a lot of hope around, really breaking some of these cycles of violence that we see happen over and over again.
So people can continue to...
Cycles of violence, what? Give me one fucking example. I guarantee you they don't. Are there any comments on...
Find out more about that.
Are there comments on here? Comments turned off. Of course they are. I want to know one fucking example of any of the shit that person, because I don't know if they're a man or a woman, because I don't know. They not sound like, they got a very androgynous voice, I should say. That's me being kind. What violence? Everything that they're saying are just words in a sentence that have nothing to back them up. You know what's funny is when people like me talk about something, they're like, prove it, prove it, prove it. And we show them evidence after evidence after evidence. And they're like, we still don't believe you. And it's like, well, how much fucking evidence do you need? Like, nothing is ever good enough for these people. But you know how this person is like, oh yeah, accountability. Or let me try to do this. Oh yeah, accountability. I can't make my voice that deep. Yeah. But where's your accountability? Show me, give me a fucking example. A real example. And if you don't change people's names, if you're worried about circumstances or worrying about outing people, but none. I guarantee I'm not going to get any. This is fucking hell. Let's see. A Russian dude thing with super chat. PS, will you review Ahsoka? Yes. Yes, I will. I'm actually planning. We'll see if I can actually do it. On doing a live reaction to the episode where I have the episode playing and I'm live and I'm talking to you guys as it's live. And then after it's done, I give an immediate review live. I'm planning on doing that. Me and Rhino were talking about it. So I'll do a live stream at midnight, watching it. So you guys see my reaction. And then I will record while I'm streaming. I'll just cut the stream, me react to it. And then the next day I'll go on Rhino's show and we'll talk about it, he and I together. And that'll be before the Jack show. So that's my plan. We'll see if it actually happens, but that's my plan for now. Nick, thank you for the super chat. Thanks for letting us suffer with you, that Star Wars girl. Yay. Yeah, thanks for being here. I'm like, if I have to listen to this shit, so do you guys. Everyone must suffer with me. Nick Wilson, thank you. Super chat. She quit Anna or she's irrelevant. It's about LGBT now. That doesn't make any sense. What? You know, I don't understand these people. And at the same time, I don't want to.
On her website, it's difficult to try to decide how much to talk about programs and work and how much to talk about people. I think we all recognize that there is like a circular Venn diagram here. So Anita, you talked about one of the reasons this is happening is because you were maybe trying to do too much or doing too much too fast. And like now we have the opportunity to hold a conversation about burnout that is non-judgmental and just like acknowledging the reality of this. And I have to imagine even as we're talking about it, like you're still dealing with it. So, if at any point you're like, can you ask a different question? Just please let me know.
Yeah, let's just talk about the new Barbie movie.
Okay. I'm dressed like Ken today.
Excellent. Which Ken,
Beach.
There's so many Kens. Yeah. Beach Ken.
Stereotypical beach Ken.
Was that a question? No. I just got derailed by talking about Barbie.
Look, who among us? Yeah, I don't know. It's really a question of how much you want to share, because I think that's part of the issue is that this has been so tied up in your external identity, but then also how that doesn't turn off when you shut your laptop, that doesn't turn off when you go to sleep. Being the face of this organization and being the face of like a mission for people has, I think, probably even compounding impact on your well-being compared to just like, oh, I'm working a lot of hours.
Everything that is just being said, I'm just like, it's nails on a chalkboard, man.
So is there anything that you feel like sharing about that? If not,
Yeah. It's definitely more than just I work too much.
Yeah.
I think that people who do activism and social justice work.
You work too much? What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Nick Wilson, thank you for the super chat. Her feminist movement is dead. Oh yeah, I read that one. Okay, sorry. Oh my God. Here we go. Let's hear her excuse.
Understand this and people who work in nonprofits generally, I think, have this extra layer of, but the work we're doing is so important and helps people. And so we need to sacrifice our well-being in order to keep the movement, keep the trajectory going, to not turn down any opportunities for engagement, audience, because you feel so strongly about what you're working on. And so this is not even remotely unique to me by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's something that we deal with in this space a lot. And so, when the harassment hit, I had a choice about whether I was going to engage with it or not engage with it. But like, let's be honest, it didn't feel like a choice.
Right.
It felt like
harassment hit. You mean it's that meme that was literally made for her. She was shoveling her shit opinions onto the internet, and the internet pushed back, and that's harassment. No, that's not harassment. It's not. They talked about accountability earlier, and like teaching people about their accountability. They can dish it, but they can't take it, is what I'm learning.
I need to do this. I understand the space. I'm good at talking, and I know how to talk about these issues in ways that I think a lot of other folks are just don't understand because of my background, my educational background, and my activist background, and like it hit the games industry in a way that folks in this space are not like trained in this kind of stuff, right? And so I was like, well, I don't have a choice. I have to deal with it. Like I have to engage with this, right? And it became so important to do. And and I don't think it's not important, but I think there's a little bit of like we get real in our heads about our own martyrdom a little bit, and the cost of that and what that means and what that looks like. And the reality is, I had people coming to me like every time I stepped out the door, being like, "I'm dealing with this harassment," or like, "It's so brave of you to speak up," or like, "Your presence is so important," and like, "What am I supposed to do? Just like leave?"
Who are these people? Give me one fucking example. There's none. There's none. My brain is already over this. How long? I'm 17 minutes in. It's an hour. Okay, we're going to try 2-speed because I can't do this. I don't care if they sound like chipmunks. I can't.
Even, like it's really hard to it's not that it was hard to hold that. It was hard to recognize how the weight of that because you're just in it all the time. So, the other thing is that people are not their jobs and they are not the symbol in which you ascribe to them. And there are other things happening in their life. So I had a bunch of stuff happening in my personal life while this stuff was happening, like while the other, like the harassment and abuse was happening. And I never talked about that publicly because why would I open myself up to more abuse?
Okay. So the woman was dealing with shit in real life. So like everyone else, and she was dealing with people pushing back on the shit that she does. Oh my gosh. It's like normal life. It's like normal life. Wow. This is abuse, Anna. I know. Did Anna turn up the playback speed? Fuck yeah, I did. Because look, now we just got a minute ahead. This is hell. This is absolute hell. Insufferable at any speed. Yep.
And I think we sometimes forget that people are humans when they take on this symbolic role.
Wait, symbolic role? She thinks she's a symbolic role? Did you hear that? Oh my God. Anita Sarkeesian is a symbol of hope in her own eyes. Hun, you are literally doing everything you're accusing the people that you're fighting of doing. You're dehumanizing other people. You're not taking into consideration that they might have personal shit going on in their lives, that they're stressed out about work on top of dealing with your bullshit. But no, it's all about, in her eyes, it's me, me, me. Nothing matters about anyone else. Talk about entitlement. Talk about narcissistic behavior and like the lack of empathy. It's outstanding. But that's literally what she is. God, when I hear women like this, and when you see this shit, I'm just like, what would solve a lot of this woman's problems if she just got laid. Because if she got laid, she would be happy, and she wouldn't be worried about this shit. All she needs is like a guy to pay attention to her and to bang her like 3 times a week. And she would stop bothering everyone on the internet. Like that's all this type of woman needs to be happy. Some women need to just not have any some women just should not have responsibility, right? Like her biggest responsibility should be making sure that the cars have gas in them, that the floor is swept, and just be the princess that kind of does whatever she wants, and she just needs a guy that will tell her that she's pretty, bring her flowers, sleep with her, and give her his credit card, and then all she needs to do is like go shopping. And that's what women like this need. You can call me whatever name you want, for saying that, but that's what prevents bitches like this on the internet. She needs to, and you could disagree with me on this, I think if she had like a kid to focus on, she wouldn't be doing this shit. You know, she wouldn't be projecting her own inadequacies on the fact that she's not where she wants to be in life on other people. She wouldn't be projecting her frustrations on other people. There wouldn't be this insane double standard if all she had to do was stay at home, take care of kids, and, you know, hope that her husband doesn't get mad at their credit card bill every month, which he wouldn't if she was fucking him. Then this problem would go away. And people can get as mad as me as they want, but we didn't have these problems, you know, a few decades ago. I feel sorry for that child. Listen, some people, you might think that they might not be good parents, but if they focus, the amount of energy that she's focusing on this task that she has deemed this is her life goal, is to destroy this. Like, she needs to be the hero. That when what I'm getting from everything that she said is that she wants to be important. She's burned out from being important, a saint-like figure that's doing all this stuff. So that's what's telling me, is that she needs to be the hero in somebody's story or in somebody's eyes. And because she's a woman, that means it's a child. She is a woman that should have had children. She should have gotten married and had kids in her 20s. And that way she could be the trad wife, soccer mom. That's the hero in her kids' stories. She wouldn't be bitching about people in the internet. And, you know, everyone here has been a kid and has had to deal with body issues, or, you know, kids are mean to one another, so bullies. And she could be that mom that sits there with a kid and, you know, takes them to soccer practice, picks them up from school. If they're having problems at school, she'll be the one that's there to do the pick me up and talk them through that. And I think, from my own experience of dealing with women on the internet and in real life, is that's literally what's missing from their life, is that, because women have that instinct to take care of other people, of children. We have that built into us because that's literally what our bodies are designed to fucking do. And when you don't have that, you know, you're not doing the thing that you were literally made to do. So it's like you're not functioning right. If you guys ever watch Star Trek Voyager, that's the whole thing with the Doctor, is that he's a hologram that wasn't meant to be left on this long. And so he's evolving. And, you know, it's like, well, what do you do when there's no patients in sick bay? You have to go do these things. And so he's going outside of his normal programming. That's literally what women like Anita are doing. They are outside of their programming, right? So she doesn't have kids to take care of. She doesn't have a husband to cook and clean for, like a house to maintain. And which these, like, people that diss like stay-at-home moms, they have no idea how much work it is. Here's my thing. I have always worked, right? I like working. I don't like other people paying for me. I'm a very prideful person. You can say that's a fault, but I think it's, you know, a virtue in my own opinion. I think my pride and my ability to feed myself and to survive is something that I enjoy and I like doing. So I've always wanted to make sure that if anything ever happened to my parents, you know, I would want to be able to take care of myself. And if anything ever happened to, you know, my partner, I would still want to be able to take care of myself, because I always knew that, you know, one day I would eventually have children. And what happens if, like, my partner dies? And if I'm completely reliant on another person, how am I going to be able to take care of a kid? And I think it's because when I grew up, I watched a lot of Disney movies, and it's like, you know, the kids are always orphans, or, you know, the parent dies and like the kid becomes an orphan, or like seeing like a parent struggle. And a lot of my friends had single parents. Like one of my best friends, her mom was a single mom, and watching that struggle. So I always knew, it was ingrained in me, that I had to be financially stable on my own. And both my mom and my dad were financially stable before they met each other and got married. They both own their own businesses. So I have that drive in me from both of my parents. But at the same time, I like my house being a certain way. I like it looking a certain way. I like certain things about the way that I live. And I always thought if I were to ever bring a child into the world, I would need to have these things done before I did that. That's why I'm the way that I am now. And, I now am engaged and I'm going to get married soon. And I actually did everything that I thought that I wanted or that I had planned out, and other things that I didn't think that I wanted that I actually did want. And so now, once I get married, I'll literally have all the boxes checked that were my own personal checklist before I wanted to have children. And so I feel like because I had so much happen to me when I was younger, I had that mindset. So that way I knew before I could do X, Y, and Z, I needed to have A, B, and C done. Now, women like Anita, I think this is the danger of being told, like, yes, you can do everything, right? You can do everything and you don't need no man, right? Now, I had a mom that was my parents are older, and my grandma was, because my parents are baby boomers, like they were literally born during the baby boom, like the 50s, the cookie cutter house and families and all of that stuff. And so my grandparents were all born during the Great Depression. And during the time when my grandma married my grandpa, it was that the woman doesn't work, the woman stays at home and cooks and cleans for her husband. Well, my grandma was very independent as well and very intelligent. And anyone that's ever met my grandma, everyone that I've ever met that's met my grandma, they all loved her. She actually founded a school. So my grandma she was very, independent and very ambitious, but she loved children. So her idea of, being ambitious and doing something was making a school. And I actually went to her school. And then once she passed away, because she died when I was 4, somebody bought the school and it's not there anymore. But I remember it, like that's what she did, was she wanted to take care of children. And so she was there for her children when they were younger. But once they were older, she's like, I'm not just going to stay in the house and cook and clean. She's like, that only takes up part of my day. Now I'm going to go start a school. And that's exactly what she did. And so even in this traditional, what people say, like trad wife, it's also, you can also have goals and do things. So that simple-mindedness of, looking down on women that get married and have children and have families and are, housewives. It's like, well, one, you don't knock it till you try it. And 2, it's like, you really don't know what you're talking about. So women like Anita, that's literally what they're missing in their life, is that they want that. It's ingrained in us to want that. It's the same thing with men. Men, it's ingrained in them to be a provider and to be a protector. Like, after being around so many women, I'm like, I don't know how every fucking man in the world is not gay, because that's hell. After I went on the Whatever podcast, I said it on, I don't know whose stream I was on. I was on a stream and I was like, I would like to apologize to every fucking man in the world, because what I just experienced for 5 hours was what I think every single man has to deal with every single second of their life. It's absolute fucking hell. And I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm a woman. I know I'm fucking crazy at times, but Jesus Christ, that was hell. And men got to deal with that, because if you want to have a family, you got to be with a lady and, got to do the stuff. But I think that's the whole thing about us being opposites, or us being able to complete each other. That's why you're a pair and that's why you're a team. But women like this don't understand that. So now if somebody like Anita, who has been, rampaging the internet, going da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, if she was at home running a household, which is, that's not just cooking, that's not just cleaning, that's paying bills, that's gardening, that's making sure everything is neat and in order, which is a lot of things like what women like to do, and having that nurturing and, that almost idealistic superhero role of being that for your children when they're, still young and they look up to you and before they become teenagers. So I honestly think if Anita found a guy in her 20s, got married, had kids, she'd be a much happier person. That's just my own opinion. But yeah. I don't know if my little rant there made any sense, but I hope it did. Maggie, thank you for the super chat. Even though you didn't say anything. Ink and Fish 5555. Thank you, Super Chat. Rip Gortana Sarkeesian. Oh no. Gonatota Sarkeesian. What does that mean? But yeah. I hope that my little rant made sense. Okay. Let's get back to this hell. See how I distracted us?
And I think we as people that hold those positions also forget that we're human and have needs. You know, like I think it's not just that it's put on us, it's that we also project that out in the way that we engage. So that was a really long way of saying, like, it took me a long time to realize that this was a problem. You know, it took me a long time to realize that, like, I can't keep going to this level. And there, you know, when I did start being like, I don't really want to talk about harassment anymore. Like, I don't feel like doling out my abuse and my trauma to audiences every month constantly and in interviews and stuff like that. And so my solution to that was, I'm still going to do talks, but I'm not going to talk about my harassment. I'm just going to play a video clip of having talked about it before. And it was very meta and weird, but I was like, it made a big difference for me in terms of like not having to verbalize it every single time. And then that wasn't enough.
Wait, so she's going and doing these talks and she's too tired about talking about her trauma and her harassment. So she plays a video. So she's literally tired of doing the thing that she does for a living. Holy fucking shit. Yeah, this woman needs to find a man. She needs to get married and she needs to have a kid. A kid that she can nurture and be the superhero role for. Because that's what she needs. That's what she desires. God damn it. I think I read that one. There was another one that came in. Snow 167. They was read. I, woman, agree with you about women. I work with men. Having to work with women is much harder. It really is. I mean, I have never so there's only really been 2 times I've had problems with male coworkers, and I know that there's been 2. I think I just blocked it out of my memory. Well, maybe more, but when it's my first one was my first job, and that's because like the guy that I worked for he was fucking weird. He was Middle Eastern, and I'm not saying this is all Middle Eastern men, but he was like, he wore blue contacts. Like, he was really sleazy. Like, the guys would laugh at him, but he like specifically would like talk down to me because I was a teenager, and like he was weird. And it's like he never like hit on me or anything like that, but like the way he looked at me, it was like, first off, he was judging me for how young I was. Second off, it wasn't that it was the creepy in that way. It was the creepy and he's looking at me like I'm not even human kind of thing. Like I'm a lower life form. And it's like, I'm just like, yeah, dude, you wear higher heels than I do. You have blue contacts and I'm pretty sure you wear makeup. And I remember one time he just had this guy that came in and he like just put a like big gigantic thing of like Coke, and I don't mean Coca-Cola, on the counter. And I was like, he made it a rule that I wasn't allowed to read books on my break because I had a book. And I'm like, the other chick that works the night shift always had books, but he was fucking weird. And then I've had some issues with like guys on YouTube, and it's not like I know when it's like women, like, oh my God, I've had so many problems working with women because they become jealous cunts and it's all vindictive. But I think it was more so, I mean, maybe there is a little bit of jealousy aspect, like guys giving me shit because they're like, oh, you're a fake geek girl, and the only reason you're here is because you're hot. And it's like, okay, the second you have to start insulting me on this just shows me, you know, your lack of intelligence, because it's like, if you insult the things I have to say, that's one thing, but it's like when they don't even give you an argument. But then those are usually people that are criticizing everyone. So I don't think it was jealousy in me per se. I think it's jealousy in that they just want immediate like internet fame and they don't get it. And then there's a couple other guys at other jobs, but again, that was just, I think they were just assholes in general, if that makes sense. I'd have to like really think about it. Let's see. All right, here we go. Let's get back to this. Oh yeah, guys, there's over 500 people watching. Please smash the like button.
And it got to a point where I was like, I can't, like, I'm, like it was really just like, I don't want to do this anymore. So we start this hotline while I'm in the thick of not wanting to do this anymore. And it's a hotline about abuse and harassment. And I'm like still kind of the face of this thing. And I'm just like, how do I manage this? And I sort of managed it by saying, I can talk about generally what's happening, but I'm not telling you my story anymore. Right. And now I'm just like, I can't do this. I can't do any of it. Right. So it took steps. Like I took little steps to get to
So she can't do her job anymore. It's a mystery as to why her company is ending. Absolute mystery.
Point of being like, and I can't keep trotting this out over and over again.
it sounds like you had several moments, and this is very familiar even as someone who hasn't walked down the same path as you, but who has been in the like mission-based work life mode for many years of not having choice. I think that is a feeling that is almost inescapable. And to have over the last few months made the kind of like, once you give a mouse a cookie, right? Once you realize you could make a decision to do this, you're then faced with more choices and more opportunities to like have some agency in what's happening. Some people might wonder why Feminist Frequency is closing and not changing hands. And I think Jay and you, Anita, have both mentioned like other people in the space who are doing work, and whether or not that existed in 2009. Like, is this an opportunity to talk to people about the landscape and like what you think you might see in the video games landscape and this advocacy side of it for the next few months? Is that like 5 different questions? Did I like start 5 different questions?
Jay being like,
I'll start with like, the decision you made is to close Feminist Frequency and not to step away personally. And I think that people might wonder to hear a little more about that decision.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about my side of it, and Jay, maybe you can share how you feel about it. When we started the hotline, we were like, well, the hotline is a project of Feminist Frequency. We're still going to keep Feminist Frequency going. We're going to do other projects around that, blah, 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 blah. And at some point, I was like, we're just running the hotline, and all the projects we're doing are through the lens of the values of the hotline. Like, Feminist Frequency isn't really a thing anymore. Like, people may or may not know the name Feminist Frequency. They definitely know tropes, but they don't know Feminist Frequency. And like, the work we're doing is pretty separate from that work, although I would argue it's very related.
Work. What the fuck are you doing? They haven't given any examples. They're like, here's this hotline that you can't see if people are actually calling or not. And she's, I guess, doing talks, and she doesn't want to say her story, so she just plays a video of her story. So what is this woman doing? What is she so exhausted from doing? Because right now it doesn't sound like she's doing anything. It really doesn't sound like she's doing anything.
And so there was a little bit of like, we had so many conversations about like the framing and the like of the two names of these things, and when we would use one and when we wouldn't use another. And I, poor Jay has listened to me talk about this a million fucking times, but like I was like, maybe we shouldn't use Feminist Frequency. Maybe people are afraid of it. Maybe we should. And like this went on for fucking years. Yeah. And like I'm cycling through the like, how do we benefit the hotline the most? And if it's attached to Feminist Frequency and me, is that going to be a problem? Because like while times have changed and clearly the work that we did has had a huge impact, like people are still afraid of me. Like they're still afraid of being associated with me. And some people, not most people, but some people, right? So.
Afraid of being associated with you out of embarrassment of being harassed by people like you. Wait, so she doesn't want the hotline that she started for Feminist Frequency? So here's the thing. So even if you are a controversial person, like I'm a controversial person, I avoid talking to certain people because I don't want them getting harassed by the people that I do online. And I always say that. I'm like, okay, well, like I can't post that we're friends, like don't follow me, don't like my stuff, because I don't want you getting bothered by people. And like for some people, they have to do that. And others, it's like they're like, fuck it, I don't care. And it's like, okay, cool. Like Mike Millar follows me on Twitter, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Gina Carano follows me on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, and she followed me before, like when she was still working at Disney before she got canceled and all that. So I was like, oh, that's cool. That those people are like totally chill with they don't give a fuck basically. But people like Anita Sarkeesian is like, okay, so you don't want the call-in phone service to be associated with you because they're afraid of being harassed. But aren't they calling you because they know who you like? This makes me think that nobody's calling this fucking phone service, because if they know who you are and they're calling you, that means that they're not afraid of harassment. That means that they are reaching out to you because you're on their side and they feel safe enough calling you with their problems. This just makes me think that nobody was calling, so she's ending it because she's tired of paying people, which I highly doubt she was paying people in the beginning.
So that is a long way of saying that like shutting down the Feminist Frequency side of things at this point doesn't really matter. We're not making videos anymore. It really was just the podcast, which is going to continue, and I'm super excited about that. So it really became an issue of like,
the podcast is still, so what's ending? Just the phone service. That's it. Feminist Frequency is still going to be a thing.
What do we do with this hotline? Like, it is helping people. There's nothing else like it. And not nothing, but like and there really isn't. Like, there are other support helplines, but like we really inhabit a very unique place, mostly to the amazing work that Jay has done to really constantly iterate and grow based on community feedback. And Jay and I had a big retreat, and we had talked about a lot of feelings. And we're like, what are all the options? Like, what do we do? Like, I was like, I need to peace out. What does that mean for you? And what does that mean for the hotline? And ultimately, at the end of the day, we decided that it didn't make sense, like logistically, to keep the hotline running or to give it to another org, or to like it's just a little too complex, and it's a little like there's a fear around like we have very specific values of how we run the hotline, and I got a little nervous about like what it would mean to pass that on, and how long it would take for us to be able to do that in a way that like honors what we are.
So she didn't want to spend time or money hiring other people to do the thing that she's too tired to do herself. So she's cutting her losses so that way she can keep money, and she's literally doing everything that she. When I say everything, I mean, she's not doing anything, but the little stuff that she's doing, she's going to continue to do. She's just not going to keep this phone line up because she doesn't want to pay for the phone line, which, I mean, she's probably using Google Voice, to be completely honest with you guys, because that's free. And she's She has, like, that's her fancy way of saying, I don't want to pay other people to do this thing that I'm too lazy to do myself. So she's just going to stop doing it. That's it. That's all she just said right there.
We are trying to do. And so I think having it running for 3 years is pretty amazing that we did it. I think that I'm a little bit sad that we didn't like fully see it through in the ways that Jay might be able to talk.
Well, look at 3 years. I've been doing this for 15 years. 3 years. 3 years, hun. It's not you're ending something. Excuse me. That's been going on for 15 years. You're ending something that's been going on for 3 years. So the drama in the beginning is all bullshit.
Talk about. But I'm still kind of like, holy fuck, we launched a hotline. What did I know about hotlines before 2019? Zero, nothing. And then we like created this amazing thing. So I'm trying to think of it as like, we're making the best decisions for us as individuals in this and to be proud of what we've done.
Yeah. And I think I see a lot of this choice to close and to sunset as a
Oh, yeah, here we go. She should post all the troll calls on YouTube. That would be actually like some evidence to support all of the claims that she's making. But you know what? I guarantee you that there's none because I highly doubt anyone is calling this damn thing. I highly doubt it. Let's get back.
real active leadership from you, Anita. And I think as we were having that conversation, I was holding a lot of that too. Being hotline director is like kind of my first like real leadership position and opportunity in my own life. And yeah, I think a big part of this conversation too was, of course, the burnout aspect for you, but also, you know, in the sense of the hotline, we were really kind of just building this railroad as we were running.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was scrappy. It allowed us to make bold decisions, like you know, along our values of like not calling police on folks, and around, you know, incorporating like survivor centered and like justice informed lenses into our trainings and the work of the hotline and all of that. And that was really cool and exciting. We were able to do that because we were a small team and a small service. And at the same time, we really learned as we went along, like how
I'm losing brain cells, guys. This is hell. I might just skip all the parts where this person talks.
How much infrastructure it takes to do this sustainably. And the realistic like place that we found ourselves here, you know, in 2023 is that it didn't feel ready to sustain on its own as its own thing and keep its own integrity with the infrastructure that we have here. And I think it's a really wonderful opportunity to offer. I felt offered the agency to decide to sunset it. I think
he hasn't said anything, or he or it. I don't know what the fuck this person is. They literally haven't said anything. I have this on 2x speed. They haven't said a single thing. Oh my gosh, I like this. She won't post calls because she knows that they would be more entertaining than whatever she does. I know, right? I'm just... This is hell. I'm actually getting a headache. I might have to go get Excedrin when I'm done with this. Holy shit. That's a whole lot of nothing. I know. Like, can anyone... There's nothing here. 27 minutes. Fuck. Okay, let's power through.
we're talking about burnout and how and social justice work, activism work, that type of thing. And the way that a lot of these spaces run is that the people who are often most directly impacted and most marginalized are carrying the heaviest loads. And, you know, it is right for the most impacted folks to have leadership. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
and it's exhausting for a really long time.
So the biggest victim should be the leaders. I would say if you're that insecure that you're crying about this, you should probably be in therapy. And I'm sorry to say this, but not be running something for other people. Like, would you really want your psychiatrist to be somebody that's suffering from all of this pain and anguish and like mental instability? No. You want someone that has worked through all those problems and evolved as a human being and is able to help other people because they've either gone through it or they know how to help other people through those kind of things. So this is stupid. Don't take advice from people like this. Thank you guys for the couple super chats that just came in. Barb Rogers, Little Miss Solar Terra, thank you. She can make more money working for Andrew Tate and his brother anyway. Oh no. I don't think anyone wants to see. I mean, you know what? There's someone out there for everyone. So maybe somebody does. Patrick D, thank you. Too early for all this joy. It's late for me because I'm my night owlness, but yeah. Let's get back to hell.
time. And so for us to, I think, really reclaim that agency and say, hey, every project doesn't have to be forever. It can matter that we did this for this long. All the people that we reached in these 3 years, like we really made a difference to all of them. And we have to remember our own humanity, and especially as a service that's by and for the games community, we are a part of that community too. And to give ourselves the permission to say like, hey, we don't have to push ourselves over the edge for this work. We deserve care too. And sometimes that care looks like stopping and ending and resting.
Yeah. One thing that I've been reflecting on that had come up in the last, I'd say 6 months or so, maybe less than that, is, and I'm thinking about it because you were talking about like leadership in terms of like making the choice to do this and to step away, is that I didn't realize how, I'm going to say checked out, but I think that's a little bit dramatic because I was like obviously still running this thing and I was around and I was like supporting the work, but I was like kind of half like irritated and annoyed all the time. And I don't mean that and I was like treating my employees bad. It was that like there was, you know, Jay, I don't know.
Irritated and annoyed all the time because you had to work. Because you had to do your job, a job that you literally created for yourself. This is what I was saying about some women shouldn't work and they should literally just be moms. She's exhausted from working. She's bored of working. She doesn't want to work. She doesn't want to do the job that she literally created for herself. So, yeah. Yep. Every word out of this woman's mouth. It hurts. It physically hurts. Oh my God. I've literally solved all these. I've literally explained how to solve all of this woman's problems. Nobody ever listens to me though. You know, there's this one character, I guess real or, you know, in what do you really even say? It's mythology because it's kind of, I think it's relevance. But so in the Trojan Wars, so when you read like the Iliad and you talk about Troy, there's this character, which is Princess Cassandra. And Princess Cassandra, or Cassandra, however the fuck you say it, she was cursed with the ability of foresight, but her curse was that she could see all these things and she could tell everyone about them, but no one would believe her. The older I get, the more I feel like I'm like, I understand you. Like, I get it. Because I can explain, like, it's funny because it's like, I can give advice and everything, and I have a hard time, like, taking my own advice because I'm just so, like, critical of myself. But when it comes to it, like, that's literally Anita's problem. She doesn't want to work. She doesn't like working. She doesn't like doing the thing that she claims to be passionate about, but she has that stigma of she wants to be the hero. She wants to be the hero in someone's life. She wants to make an impact and she wants to help people. So the way to do this and to be happy and to be fulfilled as a human being for her is to get married, to find a man, get married, and have children. Because she will be the hero in those kids' life. She will be the soccer mom. She'll be the one that's there for them when they cry or when they get bullied. She'll be at all the parent-teacher meetings. She'll be driving them to soccer practice or sports or ballet or stuff like that. She will literally be the hero in the kid's life. And that's something that, yeah, she'll get tired, but it'll be fulfilling to her and she'll love it. I just solved all of this woman's problems. And she will never listen to me. But that's literally what she needs to be happy. And she's told everyone that's listening to this hell that I'm making everyone endure. She's explained that. She has said that in this podcast. That's, you know, what she wants, that's what she enjoys, but she's getting burned out for doing it for other people, but that's what she wants. Like, people, it's funny. So when people like go in and like see psychiatrists, every single psychiatrist that I've like seen, like I love watching Frasier. Like, that's my favorite show. And it's not because Frasier and Niles are psychiatrists. It's because it's about two brothers and like then their friendships with other people. So I like stuff like that. I like movies and stories about friendships and like with siblings. So that's something that I'm drawn to. So I love the show Frasier. I watch it almost every single day. And then I got into, I didn't exactly like Jordan Peterson, but I wanted to see what was why he was so trendy. And I actually like his show when he interviews people. And then like I went down the rabbit hole of like, oh, like dealing with other, like how do you deal with certain people in like work environments. And I had to take a class in college where it was speaking to like, it was called creative speaking to non-creatives. And so I went to art school, and like it's like, okay, well, when you're designing like a video game, and so let's say you're designing like a WoW character, or you're like want to pitch the next video game concept, or like the new, like if you try to explain to a normie who the Lich King is, they're going to look at you like you're fucking crazy. It's like, oh, here's the Alliance and the Horde. They're literally going to look at you like you're speaking a foreign alien language. So this class was to prepare you and teach you how to speak as a creative person and talk to someone that has no fucking idea. Like they're all completely left side of the brain people. They're completely analytical. They have no fucking idea what you're saying, and how to talk to them so that way they can understand you. And George Lucas is actually one of the first people that did this, because he was going into Hollywood movie execs offices that are completely all about the numbers. They're like, they can't explain to you why this movie is successful over this one. They think it might be the actors or the directors, and so that's why they keep giving the money, and they don't understand when they fail. And so George Lucas is like, I want to do a movie about space wizards with lightsabers and android-like robots. And they look at him like he's fucking crazy. So he went and hired an artist, Ralph McQuarrie, to do concept art for him. So when he went in and he pitched these ideas to these executives that can't mentally picture it, and he shows them pictures, and they're like, wow, that's a cool picture. Yeah, I want to see a movie that looks like that, right? But so you have to do it without, you can have visual aids, but the class was to teach you how to do it without them. And so then it's like learning about the psychology of how to talk to people that are different than you. And so I've gone down that rabbit hole quite a bit of that. And also like, why am I having problems with these types of people, and how do I communicate with these types of people? So it was more for me as like, how do I efficiently communicate with people that are different than me? Because obviously no one sees the world like I do. No, everyone is a completely unique individual. Even identical twins, they see the world differently. So how do you communicate with people and convey an idea so that way you can talk to all these different people, but all of them can understand what you're trying to say? So that was the aspect of it that I was looking into. And it's funny because every single either psychologist or anthropologist or psychiatrist, they all say the same thing. When somebody is going to see them, they tell them what the problem is without even them knowing that they're telling them what the problem is. So Anita in this podcast has already told me and all of you guys that are listening, everyone that listens to this podcast, she has told everyone what her issue is already. She likes being the person that everyone looks up to, but she's exhausted from doing the actual work of it. She's not fulfilled in that way. She's getting burned out, but she likes talking to people. Like she likes talking to this J person. They said in the beginning that they're all friends. She wants to be somebody's hero. She literally just needs to be a mom. And she wants to be a spokesperson for people that are dealing with harassment, but she doesn't want to tell people about her own harassment. So she wants to give pep talks. She wants to be a mom. That's literally what she wants. She just doesn't know it. Or maybe she does deep down know that she wants to be a mom, but that's against her little weird vision of what the world needs to be. And because modern day feminists have ruined it, they think that being a mother is the absolute epitome of all evil. And so they're very much against that. And I think that's why so many women are so miserable. And it's really sad to see, but toxic feminism, that's exactly what this is. It's the epitome of it. It's demonizing the thing that you were literally born to do. So she doesn't want to work. So what would solve all her problems, I've said this so many times during this episode of my live show, is she needs to find a man She needs to get married. She needs to be a stay-at-home mom and take care of her kids and be her kids' hero. And her biggest problem in life can be, worrying about who needs to get the oil changed in the car and picking up the kids on time and hoping, I don't know, don't splurging too much on the credit card. That's what she needs to do in life to be fulfilled. And she has literally told all of us that in this episode of this podcast. So yeah. This is ridiculous. Okay. Let me read some of these super chats that came in. Geck812, thank you for the super chat. My bet donations have dried up to the zillion other activist causes out there. Audit of past funds donated to FF would be interesting too. Oh my God. Mark Zart, thank you for the super chat. But working is hard, apparently. Ron C, thank you for the super chat. Good morning. I call it drama. This is drama. Fic Tagius Dave Savage, thank you for the super chat. And Anita wants equality in games. What about equality in female deaths in games, where male deaths are over 90%? More female deaths in games are needed. We'll see. That's the thing. She doesn't give two shits about video games. I guarantee you this woman has never played a video game in her life. And if she did, it was like Miss Pac-Man at an arcade. And not even an arcade. She probably was at like a pizza place and there was Lady Pac-Man. She doesn't care. She literally just found out that by saying this would get her famous. So or maybe she did it on accident. She became famous and she liked being that hero. And because if people really cared about equality, they would say exactly what you just said. She doesn't care about equality. She cares about being the center of attention and being the hero in somebody else's point of view or somebody else's eyes. She needs to be a mom. That's the moral of it. Snow167, thanks for that. Being a mom is the hardest job. She couldn't handle it. She will mess up the kids. They will need a ton of therapy when they are adults. Well, I mean, sometimes here's the thing that I don't think it's the popular opinion, but it's my opinion, so I'm going to say it. I honestly don't think that the person that would be the perfect parent necessarily is the perfect parent, because kids are smart, and by seeing, like, all of us at some point in our life saw the flaws in our parents, right? And I honestly think that makes kids stronger. I really do. I don't think having an easy, nobody's perfect, and no matter how much they appear on the outside, it's not like that once you're behind closed doors. I think a kid growing up with a mom like her would be able to see through that and teach them not to do those things. Because as much as we don't like to admit, I can see the faults in my own parents, and it taught me not to do those things. And I think sometimes I am a little guilty of doing them. And so, like, my dad is a complete pacifist. My dad will not fight, which obviously I do fight a lot. But so sometimes my dad doesn't fight when he really should. And if there's a really great episode of Star Trek, The Next Generation, where Deanna Troi keeps hearing this music, and they went to this planet and everyone's dead except this one house is perfect. Like, the lawn is still there, and there's this old couple, and it's because some aliens were attacking this planet and killing everyone. And the old man, spoiler alert, he's actually like some supernatural alien being that's survived for thousands of years, and he can take on any form. He can make things appear. He's not a Q, but he's kind of like got that omnipotent power. And so he's a complete pacifist. He will not fight. And then his wife decided that she was going to go fight, and she died. And in his anger, he like destroyed a planet, or he destroyed all of the aliens that destroyed the planet everywhere. Like, he wiped them all out just with like his anger. And so I was like, that level of pacifism could be dangerous, but it's like, so, but he kind of reminds me of my dad, because my dad will not fight. He He does not believe in that. And I've never met someone that has ever had anything bad to say about my dad. Even people that, you know, might not necessarily be the nicest people, everyone agrees. Like literally every single person that's ever met my dad is like, your dad is a really nice guy. Like my dad is a very good person and he doesn't have any problems with anyone. But in certain times, you know, that's not necessarily, in my opinion, the best thing. But that's who he is. And so because my dad is such a pacifist, I can see where there's a time and a place for certain things. And it taught me that, which sometimes I think my dad should push back, but he doesn't. That's not in his nature. That's not who he is as a person. And there's nothing wrong with that. And my mom is kind of the exact opposite. And it's interesting, but I mean, my mom is a whole nother entity level of that. But, you know, you can see your faults in your parents. And so I think when you have the perfect cookie cutter parents, it's that one saying where it's like, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, or something like that, right? And then weak men create hard times and it's like that never ending cycle. So I mean, I don't necessarily think that having the perfect parents is necessarily the best, because look at our generation, or my generation, I should say. There's a lot of, you know, weak people. And I think it's because of the good times that people created for us. So we're benefiting from all these good times. But because of that, I mean, we have people that, you know, their biggest, they'll have a meltdown if you say the wrong pronouns, right? They call you a Nazi at the flip of a switch. And, you know, they probably have like the best, most loving parents in the world. So, I mean, I would never wish any hardship on anyone, especially children. But I think all of these kids that are currently getting dragged around to drag shows, I think they're going to have very different opinions when they're adults and when they're raising their own kids. So you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to think I'm right in any way, sense of the world. But, you know, I personally think that, you know, that's just what I believe. And you don't have to agree with me. But I'm glad that my parents weren't perfect. And I'm glad that they were two very different people. So I got two very different perspectives on how the world is and how to interact with the world and how to be as a human being. And there was a lot of shit that was really fucking hard. Like I fought with my mother constantly. At one point, I literally moved into the barn and I lived in the barn for a month because I could not be in the same house as my mother. And I did. I slept with the fucking goats in the barn. Like the goats and the cats, I slept with them in the barn when I was younger. And, you know, if I didn't go through shit like that, I really wouldn't appreciate electricity and my own bed. And I would still be afraid of cockroaches, rats, and spiders, which I am no longer. So, yeah. Yeah. So, you know, I think that sometimes you need to go through hard shit to be a strong person. All right. Let's get back to this hell.
If you want to talk about this, or we can cut this if you don't feel comfortable with it, but there was this like sense of isolation that I think Jay felt because I had been doing this for so long, and I'm so like, I don't like bitter is the right word, but I'm just like real cynical about the industry at this point, and rightfully so. Like, I don't think that it is unreasonable that I'm there. And Jay's coming in a little bit newer, not without your own experiences in the industry, but like newer to this direct work. And I think that there was, I didn't realize how much my cynicism was impacting the team, like the whole team, because I am pretty transparent, but I didn't realize that it was a problem. And I think that that's also part of this is like, as Jay, as you started to communicate this to me and we started to recognize this as like, you know, this very kind of underlying, almost impossible to recognize current, I was like, oh, like I need to make a choice about like whether I can show up fully for this team or not. And I can't at this point in the state that I'm in. And so some of it is like, I feel extremely lucky to have had this like journey of like starting as a like,
we're almost halfway, we're 30 minutes in. Okay, so she just doesn't want to do her job. She literally just doesn't want to do her job.
independent creator and then starting a team and like learning how to manage and kind of fucking it up a bunch and then like trying and iterating and going. And it wasn't until Jay came on in the last 3 years, I feel like I like really figured out how to manage teams. And like, it's kind of one of the things I loved the most about this work. But in that, if I couldn't show up fully in a way that like created excitement and interest and empowerment to my team, like that's not being a good leader anymore, you know?
I think you're both modeling some really good like approach also to looking inward, but also like checking in with yourself in the workplace, because I think that this is something that it took me many years into my professional life to recognize that like, okay, my personal values need to be as important to me as the values that are on my job description. And how do we marry those two things? And talking about like being able to, for you two to have had that retreat and be able to have the conversation about like what is serving.
Oh my God. I'd rather sleep in the barn again for a month. This is hell. This is hell. I saw a super chat come in. Thank you. Bullet Shepherd, thanks. Gotta agree, Anna. Parents shouldn't be perfect. We like people for their equality or for their qualities, but love them for their flaws. I don't know where that quote is from. But yeah. I don't know if I completely agree with that. I don't know. I feel like the better way of saying that is you love them for who they are and you accept every aspect of them, if that makes sense. I don't know. But I mean, here's an example that I thought of as trying to decipher that super chat. So like my grandpa smoked, right? My grandpa was a chain smoker and my mom was like, she hates that. She does not like being around people that smoke and she will not allow smoking in her house. And I'm the same way. Like when I would go over to my grandpa's house, like it disgusted me. So when I see people like smoking, I'm like, not even like in front of my house do I want people smoking. Like I don't like being around smokers. I don't like being around areas where people are smoking. It's that feeling like I need to take a shower. Like I'm disgusted. I'm physically and mentally disgusted in every way, shape, and form. And I mean, that was a terrible habit that my grandfather had that, traumatized my mom and traumatized me. So it's like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with that. So there's a flaw that, teaches you. Let's get back to this hell.
Us as individuals and what is the work that we're doing? Where is it being failed by the fact that we are failing ourselves? That's like something that I hope people can learn from and start to ask themselves. I mean, in the same way that at some point you realize you can, you don't have to like all the same things that other people like. It's like, oh, you start to realize, hey, is this program that I'm in really serving me? Is this relationship that I'm in doing what I need it to do for me? Like that we ask those questions of our work is something that is probably it was new to me very recently. So yeah. So Anita, I think a lot of people will want to know what's next. Clearly, you're about to start a brand new enterprise and put all of your time and energy into it. And for those of you who don't want to give you a minute or 5 to breathe.
You guys all wondering what Anita Sarkeesian is going to do next.
Is there anything you want to share about what is next for you?
It's amazing. It's like someone has a baby and then everyone's like, when's your next one coming? And you're like, what the fuck? Let me have this fucking child. So my teenager, I'm sending off into the ether. Yeah, honestly, we talk about burnout a lot. I mean, there's no way for me to talk about what we're doing without it. And the thing about burnout is that if you can take time off, and it's something that we, like Jay and I at FEMINIST Frequency, really worked and iterated on to be like, how do we avoid burnout? What do we do when it happens? How do we like prevent it in the future? And it never ends, right? Like I feel like we were constantly iterating on this. And you can take time off, which we did, and then you come back and you're still burnt out.
Right.
So it's burnout follows.
So she doesn't want to work. That's all it is. I like how she brought up the baby analogy. She doesn't want to work. She's burned out from working. She took a fucking break from working and she came back and she's still burned out. She doesn't want to fucking work. That's all this is. Honey, just be a housewife. Literally just be a housewife. Mark, sorry, thank you for the super chat. I grew up on a farm with 1 brother and 10 sisters. Holy fucking shit. Your parents were busy. In my family, you either grew up knowing how to fight or you got your ass kicked. Yep. I know how that is. Wait, did you get your ass beat by your sisters? Let's see.
It doesn't go away just because you took a couple of weeks off. So for me, if I'm being truly honest, and I am at this point because I wouldn't be shutting this down if I wasn't, I need to actually deal with this. I need to deal with this like 15 years of burnout.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and take a break as much as I can, given financial and personal things that happen in terms of like how do you sustain after this. But I'm gonna see if I can deal with this, because one of the things that burnout does is it's at least for me, it's like, well, I'm not good at anything. There's a line. Okay, I didn't really like the Barbie movie. I just have to say, even though I'm gonna like quote it right now. But there's a line in it where stereotypical Barbie is like, I'm not good at anything, and I totally started crying. I was just like, wow, I feel this.
Oh my God, she's not good at anything. Oh my God. She just admitted she's not good at anything. Okay, that's at the 34-minute mark, guys. Anita Sarkeesian admits she's not good at anything. Wow. Shocker. Holy shit. Somebody needs to clip that and send it to It's a Gundam. I can't wait for his video to come out on this.
And the reality is that's not true. I'm actually good at a lot of things, and I'm excited about it.
Never mind. I'm good at a lot of things. What are you good at? Annoying the fuck out of people?
A lot of things, but I'm not when I'm burnt out. So that's like, I don't know what's next. I have no idea. I'm just excited to be excited about something again. And I know that will come back, and I know
I'm sorry, but even if you're burned out, if you're actually good at it, you're still going to be good at it. I'm pretty sure Stephen Hawking, who was fucking dying most of his life and in a chair and like blinking at a computer, I'm pretty sure he got burned out of sitting in the chair and not being able to move or control his fucking body. But he was still a really good scientist, even though he was burned out, right? Right? Like, I feel like the only time you can use that excuse is when you're like an Olympic athlete or you're a professional athlete. Like, I'm pretty sure after sprinting, Michael Phelps gets tired, right? Like that is when he's burned out and he just can't do it, right? That is the only time I think that's excusable. Or maybe like a doctor performing surgery. But I'm pretty sure a lawyer that's good at being a lawyer could still do it even when they're burned out. You know, they're just going to be a little slower. Jesus. All right. What is this? I got Russell. Good morning, Russell. Russell Hall woke up. Hello, Russell. Thank you for the super chat. Clever. Well, I guess you were right all along about Brie Larson being a literal C word. Be sure to gloat about it on Twitter. Sorry, I mean X. Oh, you watched my most recent video, did you, Russell? Thanks for that, man. All right, let's continue.
My confidence will come back, and I know that like I will do something fucking cool again, but it's just not right now. So in the meantime, while I'm trying to navigate this, I've been doing consulting on video games, like inclusivity, sensitivity reading consulting for years now. It's just kind of like a side thing that I've been doing. So I'm going to continue doing that because I love that work. I think it's really like rewarding to have that kind of impact directly.
Who the fuck is hiring this woman to consult on video games? That's a throwaway of money.
Games and to stay kind of connected. And then I'm just going to see what happens next. You know,
that's really huge.
And scary. It's scary to not know.
Don't forget about me.
This is so dorky. I'm going to send you a poem after this that I stumbled upon this week that also made me cry about the risk, the fear of risk and uncertainty. But it's very important to take that time for yourself. And I read the book about burnout because I'm the sort of person who's like, I'm struggling. What homework can I do to apply to the struggle?
Yeah, we're all like that.
So I read Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski. And the one thing that I kind of carry with me is like, oh, if I'm running away from a predator, which is the way I feel a lot of the time, but then there's no conclusion to that feeling, you know, there's no like, and then I got eaten, or then I fought the predator and like won, then that just kind of turns into a tornado in my gut and head and heart.
I think they call it closing the stress cycle.
Yeah.
That, like, and I was like, I've never figured out how to do that. You know, like they talk about like finishing a book or going for a run, and then like there's something that clicks at some point. I was like, that's never fucking happened for me. I have no idea what you're talking about. But that book is very good. I saw Emily and Amelia speak at XOXO, and this was years ago. I should have known, but they did a talk, and in their talk, they started singing Moana in the middle of like talking about burnout, and I was sobbing, like just uncontrollably in the audience crying. I was like, oh, maybe I'm burnt out. Maybe I'm not doing so great.
I think my ears are going to start bleeding soon. All right, 36 minutes in, guys. We're over the halfway mark, at least.
This is a great modeling example of like, for those of us who are like, what extra work can I do to make me feel better about the work that I'm doing? Is like, sometimes the rest has to be productive.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I have a whole list of books that I plan on reading when I'm done, and like one of them is Net Ministry, which I think talks a lot about this kind of thing. I believe you've read it and done some trainings around that stuff.
Yes, it's quite a spiritual text for me. And I think I really love the spirit with which she like infuses like the topics around rest as resistance with this lens. I think that speaks to a lot of people like us around capitalism, like racial capitalism, and the ways that it just really ingrains into our lives. Another really great book that I like is Laziness Does Not Exist by Dr. Devin Price, which also adds, I think, a really good like disability and class perspective to the concept of laziness, which I know for me drives a lot of my overworking and burnout cycles. I think what's something really beautiful coming out of this conversation for me is talking about the little.
They're talking about getting burned out. There are men that literally wake up. Like, just imagine training to be like a Navy SEAL. You have to go through little hell every single day. You basically torture yourself every single day, all so that you could be the most badass fighter to defend your country and all of the innocent people, like children, from bad people that are going to try to kill them. And these women are complaining about getting burned out from talking to people on the internet. The epitome of entitlement. Wow. And they go on for another 30 something minutes.
Kind of iterative steps that have like built us up in this journey and then now to this point, the sunset. And I think that is really powerful because we often want, like I'm going to read this book and do this homework and then it'll be fixed. And also we want to think about, our symbols and our movements as we're going to work really hard or this is going to represent this thing and then it will be one, or like I think this illusion of like a binary state of doing well and not doing well, winning or losing, pushes us because we're like it's either so close or it's so important or something that we get there, we just need to get there, when that's just not really how movements for life or change works. And I think within our own little ecosystem of feminist frequency, I don't know, some of the ways that this story is unfolding here is really making me realize how many like little steps of like thinking about like, okay, what does it look like if we rest more? Okay, what does leadership and the way we want to treat each other on our team actually really mean? And then the million questions that follow that question and digging into those things also for you, Anita, like personally, like showing you what you can and can't do and actually like looking at each of those questions to then eventually like lead you to this decision in the place we are now. And I think that to me feels people have been asking me like what I feel proud of in this work as it's closing. And I talk a lot about, how important the hotline was and the work that we did and respect and how that's, I don't know why I want to continue that and how proud I feel of it. But also honestly, like one of the proudest things one of the things I am proudest of in this feminist frequency is how intentional we were with the way that we treat each other, with our culture, the ways that we looked at things when it wasn't working anymore, when we misunderstood each other, when we hurt each other's feelings, and just around how we did it, how we looked at the weight of doing all this emotional labor, taking on kind of some of this burden of change as directly impacted folks, and really trying and messing up and trying again in so many different ways internally in this work, and in ways that aren't necessarily going to come out in an external way. But I just feel so much pride and love around.
And there's
Sarkeesian lied about Sargon to try to get him removed from VidCon on a panel about bullying. She verbal abused Boogie at the point of him having a panic attack. What? Oh my God, can you send me that? Can you, like, my email address is thatstarwarsgirl@gmail.com or tag me on Twitter. Can you send me those? Because I want to fucking see that shit. Wow. Fuck, if this bitch goes and bothers any of my dude content creators, send me a thing and I'll come be the whammon that comes in and white knights for the man because Anita's gonna cry because if a man says anything back to her, she'll cry about it and scream the patriarchy, or men be bad to women. And it's like, all right, well, I'm a woman now. What's your excuse? Oh, that's right, you don't have one. Oh my God, crazy. Okay, you can tell the boys I'll white knight for them. Big D, thank you for the super chat. Nice one. I think burnout is easier to come by when what you do has no substance and is unfulfilling. That's what I'm saying. She wants to be a mom. That is what will fulfill her in life, and she doesn't want to come to terms with it because she's a feminist, and feminists have deemed motherhood as the embodiment of failure. Yeah. Anna, the men's right activist. No, it's the equality activist, I would say. I'm not an activist in any way, shape, or form, but, okay. Rimru23, thank you for the chat. Her name sounds like a main villain in a game. It kind of does, doesn't it? Markzart, thank you for the member chat. Don't mess with Anna's friends. To be fair, I don't know Boogie, and they've only spoken to Sargon once on a live stream, maybe twice, I don't know. I think we were on like EFAP together in passing. I will remember that one of the times I was on EFAP and I was going off on someone and Sargon was in the chat and he was like cheering me on, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. But I think that's like the extent of our interactions. Russell, thank you for the chat. When's the last time you slept? I don't know. Oh, I slept after I played Jedi Fallen Order yesterday, and I went to bed after that. I did watch an episode of Star Trek before I went to bed, though. I just randomly, what was it? One of my favorite episodes of Voyager is the one, it's like that. So it's the, that psychological aspect of it, which is where it's when B'Elanna gets, they come in contact with this alien that's like it's a distress call, but it's like this bug-like alien, and it attaches itself to B'Elanna so that way it can survive, like by connecting itself to all of her organs. And so it's like they can't disconnect it without killing her. So he needs an expert in exobiology, and he goes through the database and like just get another hologram that will talk with you and like can work this out with you. So he does that, and it's a Cardassian, and it turns out he's like their boogeyman that like experimented on all these Bajorans during the occupation. And he was basically like what their Nazi doctor, basically. And so it's like that whole they literally need him so that way he can save B'Elanna, but she's like, no, I don't want you to I don't want you to save me with him. Like I don't want to benefit from the research that he did torturing and murdering other people. And so it's like the psychological aspect of it. Like, yes, you're benefiting from this person's research, but at what ends? Like, do you yeah, exactly. Dr. Mengele. That's basically what it is. And so it's, wait, Sargon once made Venti cry. Really? He did? What happened? Yes, Mengele. Yeah. So it's a really good episode. And that's one of the things that they were, all the Cardassians, except for like a few, they always were charming. Like, it's like the greasy used car salesman trope. Like, that's like Gul Dukat was such, like, he was like that. He's like, let me smile, but I'm really like gonna screw you over. I love the Gul Dukat episodes of Deep Space Nine. They're great. But this guy was like that too. Krill. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's a great episode. So I like that. I think they just realized on Voyager that the Doctor was the best actor, so they just made all the episodes revolve around him. Let's see. What's this say? What is this? Anna isn't always has been a con artist. She's not even a feminist. Have you seen the commercial where she's shilling her boyfriend's MLM? What's MLM? I think you meant Anita, not me. Her name is Anita. My name is Anna. Wait, what happened? Did Sargon really make Brittany cry? Let's see. Okay, let's get back to this. This hell. 40 minutes in, we're so close. Only got 20 minutes left.
The whole team behind the scenes, but I think everyone I've talked to anyway has felt like, okay, like this is the next step. This is an okay step. This is an okay thing. Like I think Anita, you should also take some heart in the fact that like the people that work with you on this project are really happy for you to take some time away.
Nobody that knows me was at all surprised about this decision. I want to acknowledge what Jay was talking about, because I think that one of the things that kept me here for so long was our team and how we run it. And so like, it's nice to hear you talk about that, Jay, and how like, why would I give this up? You know, like there's really like, this was a thing that I was like, I got to build the team I wanted to build with the people I wanted to build it with, the culture I wanted it to be. And I say that in like that was informed by the people that came in, and that was informed by like, it was so collaborative how we built this community. And when new people came in, it shifted and changed, and they brought new things in, and we adjusted and
she's like, she said he. Okay, so the J person is a boy. Okay, that's answered. Now we know.
It just grew richer and richer. And I hear about other people's workplaces and they sound terrible, you know? And like, there's so many people that have worked for us that have come in who are very traumatized from other jobs. And as someone who hadn't had that experience, I never understood why they didn't believe me when I was.
Wait, somebody that was traumatized by other jobs. So you mean all these women that don't want to work because it's biologically ingrained in them to be nurturers and to be mothers. And so they should all just be stay-at-home moms and homemakers, and they're traumatized by working. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's all this is women complaining because they don't want to work. So find a dude, get married, and have children and be a homemaker, and you will be happy. I just solved all of these bitches' problems. Holy shit.
was like, yeah, if you can't do that thing, just don't do it. Or like, you're tired, like take some time off. Like, it took a long time for me to build trust with certain people, because I think jobs are really a lot of jobs are really soulless, and they care more about the work product than they do about the people. And I think that
So you want to be a mom. You want a job that's not soulless, like raising a child. That's what you want. You're not fulfilled by working. You own your own business, and that's not fulfilling enough for you, because what you really want is to be a mother and to nurture something with a soul. I literally just solved all this woman's problems.
Jay and I were able to build a space that really like cared about each other before anything else. And we were constantly like, I can't do that.
So you built a foundation. She's literally described. So she is trying, because she's a feminist, right? So feminism have deemed homemakers and mothers failures, right? Like that's really what they think of that. So she's talking about this Jay person. So they built a really strong friendship and connection, and then they did this thing together, which is not fulfilling because they want something with a soul. So she wants to be in a partnership with a best friend. So like, you know, where your partner, your romantic partner is also your best friend. And she wants to have that nurturing type of, she wants to be a mom. Should I do a call-in show and give people advice on their problems? Because I feel like I'm hitting it out of the ballpark with this.
I have too much on my plate, and the conversation would be like, what do we take off? Can someone take it on? If no one can take it on, it just doesn't happen. And I think I'm really proud of that. And I feel like I learned a lot. And I think Jay coming in and our relationship together and how we communicated and how we complement each other really well allowed so much space to bring emotion and humanity into management and into how we want to exist. So like, yeah, we didn't.
Wow, just like parents. Wow. Everything that she just said that makes her happy is what a married couple do when they're starting a family. That is what she wants. That is what makes her fulfilled. But she's so dead set on this feminist agenda that she is in actual denial of the thing that she finds most fulfilling in life. That's really sad. And she's got no one to blame but herself in this aspect. And this is where pride comes in, because she's too prideful to do the thing that's actually going to make her content and happy in life. Nomad0036, thank you for being a member for 3 months. Anita was beautiful name until this woman. It makes me think Anita is the owner of the girl dog in 101 Dalmatians. That's what I think of when I hear that name.
Do everything we set out to do, but we did it in a way that cared for each other. And I think that's way more important than anything else. You know?
I think that I want to remind people to check out the website, where there might be some more details, where you can stay tuned. First of all, where you can access all of the resources and everything that's been put out by Feminist Frequency, the guides that the Games Hotline has put together. Those are all going to remain online for free. Please utilize them, share them.
Yeah, so both of the Feminist Frequency and the Games Hotline website will become an archived site. It's going to continue to be hosted and stay online. We are working on redesigning them so that it is easier to navigate and so that people can understand, like, we're not open, but we have all these like amazing information guides that have been built up over the years. So that won't be out yet. They won't be changed yet, but they will, before everything is wrapped up, be available. So, don't go to the website today thinking that it's going to but it will be there.
But if you want to be in the loop, you can still subscribe to the newsletter. And then next year, when the annual report is published, you'll also be able to get maybe more like really nitty-gritty information. I always feel like for the nonprofits that I've supported personally, I've always appreciated being able to look to that annual report and feel proud of the organization that I've cared for. And if I can insert myself into this narrative for a minute, I want to thank you, Anita, for encouraging me to continue the podcast, which is staying around. It will carry on beyond the closure of the organization. There will still be Feminist Frequency Radio. So just putting that out there, that when we had this conversation, you were like, you should keep doing the podcast. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I hate this so much.
Too. So
like, I love this podcast. I think it's fucking great. It was started with me, Carolyn, and Ebony, and we worked together, and I think we had such a great dynamic because we were so different, and it like really made for interesting conversations. And then, time goes on, people get new jobs, et cetera, et cetera. And then Ebony was like, so I'm going to peace out tomorrow, but I got this new person. And then you joined, and I was like, great. And I think, Kat, you brought, again, a whole nother flavor and a whole nother like humor and intelligence to this podcast in a way that like is just different than it was before. And so I was like really happy that you're going to continue this because if I'm going to, like, there's part of me that's like, maybe I can keep doing the podcast. And I was like, I need to take a full like separation from this work for a while. So I encourage everyone to keep subscribing to the Patreon, keep listening to the podcast, keep sharing it.
Keep paying me money. That's what she's like. Keep paying me money, even though I have no interest in doing my job. That's great. Yeah, totally give this woman money, guys. Isabella Live 2.0, thank you for the super chat. Pride goes before starting a loving family. Well, this is what I said earlier. Like, I know that pride is a sin. And I think I don't think everything is such black and white. Like, I think that it's like the yin and yang. You need this to have this. So I think sometimes pride can be a good thing. But in her case, it is like this is why it's leading her down the wrong path. And that's why she's miserable. And that's why she's in a living hell, right?
I think that there's going to be some really special, I think it's going to continue to be really special and have a lot of the same energy that you've been coming to the podcast for. And I'll be back sometimes. Yeah. I got so many opinions. My opinions have not gone anywhere, you know?
They're going to be bottled up, and then I'm going to come and help you share them with this audience. And
I do want to say too that because I could see fucking burnout is everywhere. I could see how much I was slacking on the podcast, you know, like, or I was really phoning it in sometimes. And when you came on, I was like, damn, you're like really good at this, Kat. Like you're such a good interviewer. You're so thoughtful. You're so prepared. And it made me be like, I shouldn't be.
She's phoning it in on podcasts. I know you guys all give me shit that I'm phoning it in sometimes, but I'm not like actually, unlike her, I'm actually working a lot. And so sometimes when you're hanging out with your friends, because like when I do shows, most of the time I'm hanging out with like the guys on the Jack show. I'm like, I'm hanging out with my friends. Like I just want to lay back and just talk, you know. It's like, I don't think that's phoning it in. Like, just because I'm not like 100% like crazy on crack energy, I don't think that's phoning it in. Like, imagine like Anita, like, oh my God. This is hell.
Be here anymore.
That's that horrible. That really is that horrible moment in Barbie where you're just like, well, if I'm chemically not attuned to the things I'm doing right now, then clearly I am bad and bad at everything, and no one wants me around. It's like, that's not the case.
But I say that not to be self-deprecating, but to be like, I think like I'm excited about the energy you bring to the podcast and like the renewed excitement and interest in it.
Well, I'm excited for people to keep listening and having conversations with me. I'm currently in a social media moment where I'm not like engaging with a lot of people because what the hell is happening. But I've really enjoyed being a part of it since last year, and continuing it on is something I'm very honored and proud of. And yeah, so you'll keep hearing my dulcet-ish tones from week to week. So finally, as we wrap up this conversation, I imagine you have a non-exhaustive, incomplete list of some people that you might want to thank while we're closing out this chat.
Yeah. So, I mean,
we tease you because we like you, Anna. I know. That's why I don't get offended by things, because I know you guys are just, you know, giving me a hard time. But oh my God, this is hell. It's almost over.
So many people have made, you know, this work possible and have really shaped these like 3-4 years that I've been with Feminist Frequency. I think I want to start with, you know, one of kind of my goals and ulterior motives when I joined the org was to really like bring and imbue abolitionist principles into whatever work I was doing. It just feels so integral to creating healthier communities and building a better future and a better world for all of us. And so, you know, whether that look like, you know, abolitionist choices on the hotline or integrating like transformative justice into some of the like respec work that we do and accountability stuff that we do on the hotline, I felt really strongly about that, and it has felt like something that I don't know, I feel proud of like kind of continuing this lineage of Feminist Frequency as this really like visionary organization that brings really fun, exciting new social justice concepts into game spaces. And so with that, I think I want to start by thanking a lot of the folks who have informed that thinking for me in the way that I think in me and Mingus around transformative justice, like sibling doing mental health work in games for so long. And just we hadn't talked about concerns, and so I want to think that it would have been possible, I think.
But many people have allowed 15 years. Honestly, I don't
come to mind in my heart in this moment. I'll pass it to Anita and then interrupt if I think.
I don't. Like, you think I'd be more prepared with this since we've been talking about this for months now, but I don't. It's 15 years of people, you know, like I'm afraid to name any names because it's been so many people have allowed this work to happen and supported it. So like, more generally speaking, I think it's like, I think about all of the people who were on board early, you know, who like stepped up early and were like, this is valuable and important and we care about this stuff. The people like the game studios that invited me out to speak, like before I ever released a video or said anything, and was like just kind of interested and curious in having sort of feminist analysis in this work.
Wait. Before you had videos, before you got internet famous, how did they know about you? I want the fucking receipts. I want them. Say them. Give fucking examples. But no, I don't want to. It's too much. No, name 3. That's just 3. That's not a lot. Give fucking examples. Because I don't believe any of this shit. I feel like people just invite her because they have to. Like, all she'd have to do is like, oh, The Last of Us. You know, Naughty Dog. Just say that. There's one. I just gave it to you. I did her own homework for her.
It was extremely encouraging to me how I would meet game developers who would be like, well, you talk shit about my game, but you were right, and I'm never going to do that again. And that was when I was like, oh, things can change. Like the people.
Give examples. Fatted Ink, thank you, Super Dad. Here's my question. How come equity is an issue when most of these types just want to keep their own money, not contribute much, and still complain about us not providing? Because they don't believe in anything that they're saying, and they don't know what equity really is, right? They don't know what that word means. Just like they don't know what the word ethics means either. They don't understand the concept of ethics. And so people that claim that they want these things honestly don't know what that is. But when somebody doesn't have anything, like if a person is on the verge of like being homeless, they like the idea of equity because it benefits them. And so when you have people that are when you have a small amount of people that are up here and a shit ton of people that are down here, when those shit ton of people that are down here are getting told by these people, hey, let's do this thing that'll make you up here like us, they're going to want that. There's a great Dr. Seuss book. It's called The Sneeds. And it's where some Sneeds have stars on their bellies and other Sneeds don't have stars on their bellies. And the Sneeds with stars think that they're cooler and, you know, they live better lives than the Sneeds that don't have the stars on their bellies. So the Sneeds that don't have stars are all sad. And then there's this guy that comes into town with this machine that'll stamp some stars on their bellies. And so they stamp all these stars on their bellies. And now they're cool, like the Sneeds that have the stars on their belly. And all the Sneeds that have stars are mad now because they're not special. And the guy that made the star machine has a star remover machine. So all the Sneeds that had stars go into the remover machine and get their stars removed. Now they're like, oh yeah, we're nice and clean now. Our bodies don't have stars. We're so much better than you. And then it goes crazy to where they're going back and forth on the machines. And then at the end, nobody knows who's who. Right. And so that's kind of, this is like, people are not intelligent anymore because people that are making, like, that's a book that's made for kids, right? It's Dr. Seuss. It's very complex ideas told in a way that everyone can understand, that even young children. And so that's a really good analogy for, you know, equity and how in some instances, some people might like it, but overall it's not going to work out in the end and no one's going to be happy. And Dr. Seuss taught me that. Yeah. More relevant than ever before. And, you know, most people don't even know what that is. Yeah. Diversity, equity, inclusion is a machine for, I shouldn't have highlighted that. I try not to get into politics. I don't think that's a politics one. Yeah. Do you guys know that Dr. Seuss story, the Sneeds? Or am I the only one? I didn't even watch the cartoon. What was the... Yeah. All right. No, you don't know that one? Strange that Dr. Seuss has been banned. I know, right? So stupid. You guys never watched the Sneeds? Let me find it. Let's see if I can find it for you guys. Oh, there we go. Hey, I found the whole cartoon. Oh, the Snitches, not the Sneeds. Okay, I'm stupid. All right, here, I found them. Probably get flagged. Oh. Okay, so yeah. So they used to have this cartoon. So this is a Dr. Seuss cartoon. I used to watch these all the time. Okay, so the Cat in the Hat will tell you this, like he starts off by telling you the story. So the Snitches. Okay, so here's the ones with the stars on their bellies. There's the ones that aren't. You see how happy or like snooty they are with like their nose all stuck up, and these ones are all sad because they don't have stars. The Snitches with the stars, they on the beach. They're not allowed to play with the kids that don't have the stars, and they laugh at them. They all are around the fire having s'mores. Yeah. And then they're all cold. They don't get the fire. And then this dude comes into town and he's got this machine. And, you know, you pay $3 and you get to have a star. Now you get a star, and you get a star, and you get a star. And so the ones with the stars are pissed at the ones with the fake stars. And so he's like, oh, I can remove your stars. So then star off machine. And so they get all their stars taken off. And so now they're like, oh, we're clean. And see, they're still snooty. And then they sing and, oh, you notice that? I never knew. Oh my God. That was a star off. Look, he raised the price. So it's $3 to get a star on and $10 to get it off. So now everyone wants their stars removed. Star on, star off. And so they go back and forth. So they're running and then they can't even tell. They can't tell. And then he leaves. And so they're all mixed and now they're all happy. That person got a shit ton of stars. But yeah, I watched this when I was little. This needs to be an Anna narrated version. Well, I just gave it to you. Yeah, there you go. There's the Sneeds. Clash of the Titans on YouTube. Did you guys see that? I love that movie. Yeah. All right. We're almost done. I need to stop procrastinating. Let's listen to the rest of this hell.
People who are making games are going to start making them differently. And we've seen that, and that's been happening. So all the people who had the difficult conversations in their workplaces, all the people who advocated for better workplace culture, different games, better, like more diverse teams, like that's the work. You know, like I helped provide maybe some of the language, some of the education around it, but it was really the people in those spaces who made the change happen, you know? So there's that. And then there's also like
we're failing.
All of the donors over the years, like for the first several years of Feminist Frequency, actually for many years, we were run exclusively on donations by individuals. And we were so unique when I started talking to other nonprofits because we were run.
I'm 36 and never seen. Oh, here, let me get you the link. Here you guys go. Here's the snitches. Go watch this and show it to kids. Go watch the snitches. It's great. Dr. Seuss is great. I don't like that they're taking that away. I like Dr. Seuss. Like, look, the Grinch. Somebody that doesn't like Christmas. And then he learns the true meaning of like love and friendship. And it's not the Grinch is a story about a guy that resents capitalism and materialistic stuff. And then he learns about that it's not about all that everyone that he thought was materialistic in this capitalistic society aren't actually materialistic, that they just care about each other. And because he's alone and doesn't have anyone, he was projecting his own hatred onto other people, and he learns the true meaning of friendship and love, and he's happy. That's what the Grinch is about. Great. Yeah. Okay. Let's get back to this.
We ran almost exclusively on donations, but also on small donations by a lot of people, which is kind of unheard of. And so like, that's weird and amazing and cool. Like people, it's not people with enormous means. It's people who are just like, I really care about this. I have a few dollars and I think it's worth it to allow this work to continue. And you know, the thing about nonprofits is like, we are literally a charity. We're constantly begging for money to do the work. And the fact that we did not need to go to corporate sponsors or grants for a really long time meant that we had no, not oversight's not the right word, but we had no one telling us what to say or how to say it. We could be sincere and true to like what we believe without sacrificing any of that. And I feel pretty fortunate in that even when we did have to start shifting, because a hotline is very expensive, when we did have to start shifting to different types of funding or fund.
Oh my God. So nobody wants to fund her. That's why she's ending it. She's burned out. She's not fulfilled and she has no money. There you go. You got a good opportunity there. Story time with Anna and Dr. Seuss. I would run out of Dr. Seuss stuff real fast. I can tell you guys plenty of stories. I had a really hard time like learning how to read because my kindergarten teacher, she actually got fired for the abuse that she inflicted on me. And she never taught me the alphabet or how to read. She actually like prevented me from learning how to read. So I really struggled reading. But my dad, he always says this. He's like, my favorite thing was to be read to. And because of that teacher, I'm an audio learner. So I remember things that I hear. And so if I'm paying attention and I'm focused, I can remember it. So I think there's like a painting stream that I did where I like kind of just give the entire plot of like an audiobook that I listened to. And everyone's like, how'd you remember all that? I'm like, I just do. I'm an audio learner. And so like, I might not remember everything that I see, but I remember almost everything I hear. And if I'm paying attention and I'm focused. But so my dad always said like, you'd just be sitting there and I'd like come and I'd jab a book in his stomach. I'd be like, weed. And so I loved being read to. And so I remember a lot of books. And then once I did finally, when I got to 4th grade was when my teacher realized that I didn't know how to read, because I was in the, they make you take the STAR test in school, and I tested so bad on it. And they're like, how are you testing so bad? Because I could literally reiterate everything that a teacher said in the lesson, like word for word. And I was just doing so horridly on tests. So I was in the class for kids that could not speak English. Like they did not know English. And it's like, I speak perfect English, right? And for a kid. And my teacher, he realized, he's like, okay, he's like, you don't know how to read. I'm like, it took you until 4th grade to teach me, like to learn that I don't know how to read. And he's like, you don't know how to read. You need glasses and you're dyslexic. And I was like, oh, all these problems. But the second that I did learn how to read, I was reading giant books. The first book, like novel that I read it's called Pendragon. It's about like this kid that like goes through doorways and like travels to different worlds and stuff. It was great. It was great. I forgot what book 1 was called, but I read all of them except I didn't finish the last book. Yeah. So I remember all this shit. I could do story time. I could tell you plenty of stories. Like Hollywood, Disney does all like, oh yeah, Cinderella and the prince, and the prince doesn't save, or excuse me, Snow White and the prince doesn't save her. Go read other books. Like, so, okay, they want like gay characters. Okay, Hans Christian Andersen was gay. He wrote a he wrote a little fairy tale story about his gay lover who was a male ballerina. You could do that story. They won't though. Have a spacesuit will travel? No, he goes through a door. All right, let me finish this. Get your dad to read your super chats. He would read them for me. And it's funny because I can't spell to save my life. My dad is so good at it. My grandma was like so, I don't know. She was very disappointed in my lack of Scrabble abilities. Let's see.
Wonders where nobody ever put stipulations on what we could say, how we could say it, what we were doing. And like, that's pretty rare in this kind of in the space. And so I'm extremely grateful for the people who literally.
Nobody criticized you. Nobody pushed back on what you were saying because they were afraid of being canceled. That's a privilege. Wow. That's sad.
Really gave us money and like trusted us with that to allow this work to go.
Also notice, like, you guys can't see it on here. Let me make this big. So on this little computer screen she has a checklist. There's a computer screen, a game controller, a bowl, headphones, a mouse and keyboard, a orange person's hand with nail polish and a ring, the settings thing, and then a brown person talking to people. She would cancel somebody else. If this was a man that was having a podcast and this, she'd be like, why is there a brown person? Why is the hand orange?
Go on to allow people to get paid to do this work. And then also just like the community that popped up around this, like all the people I met at all the different conferences, our Discord community, the people who listen to the podcast, like it wasn't just the folks who could give money. It's like the people who shared our videos, the teachers that still use the tropes videos in their classrooms today. Like most people I meet now are like, yeah, my teacher played it in class in middle school and that's how I met you.
Who the fuck is playing Anita Sarkeesian shit in middle school? Who? Give me an example. Prove it. That's bullshit.
I learned about you or whatever, and college classrooms and that sort of thing. So it really was a lot of times when you're like an individual creator, you're doing all of this work by yourself or with a small team. And it really is people believing in you and sharing and being like your voice on the streets in a big way that allow this conversation to get bigger and allow it to transform the way that it did. So because I was making videos before tropes and nobody gave a shit about those. So it really took the community to be like, no, this is important. Y'all listen up. So I don't know what I'm missing. I'm probably missing a bunch of shit, but like those are the big ones that I'm thinking about right now. And I don't know, it's 15 years, fucking long time.
It's a long time.
And all, like there's also like all the people that worked for us and volunteered for us and were a part of this at different phases and like put up with me in all of those different phases. Jay came on in a time when I was like way more loosey goosey. Where before, like I was so paranoid about every single word that we said and put out, and like having people around me who like respected and honored that and helped me feel safe and like supported in this space. In addition to being like good at their jobs and doing amazing work, I think.
Help me feel safe and supported. You mean like being a wife, like having a man that protects you and supports you. Oh yeah, this is it. Pendragon book 1, The Merchant of Death. That's the book that was the first chapter book I read. It's a big book too. I used to have it, but I lent it to one of my roommates and she went down a dark path and I never got my books back. Yeah, literally what she just described as being a wife. That's what she wants. That's everything that makes her happy.
I wouldn't have survived this if I didn't have some really core people who never shamed me for like anxieties or insecurities or worries. Like people took my fears and concerns seriously, and that makes such a huge difference.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, it's over. Oh my God, there's music. Oh my God, can we be done?
Well, I want to thank you both for your candor today. That has been our show. If people, I don't know, I'm actually thinking about putting a little little homework list together. If people want to read these books like The Net Ministry and Burnout and the stuff that we talked about, so that might be linked in the show notes. But do you want to share your personal social media handles so people can stay
What
up to
is
date?
social media anymore,
Man,
really?
I do not know. I haven't a clue at this time.
Have you heard of this cool new platform called X?
Listen, I used to guest lecture at colleges and conferences about social media. I was an expert professionally on social media. Today, I'm like, what is even happening? Like, I'm a cans in a string at this moment. But if something changes, where can people maybe keep up with you?
So I'm at Anita Sarkeesian on everything. I'm also on all the new shit, Blue Sky and Threads and however long any of that shit lasts. I'm a little bit less active right now, but that's definitely where I will post new projects and things and thoughts and whatever. So you can always find me at that handle on whatever social media you're on, Instagram. And I think the Feminist Frequency Instagram, the Feminist Frequency Twitter, and we don't know that many Twitter. At least the Instagram is going to stay active. So that'll be like podcast updates, I suspect. So like keep following that as well.
I'm not a big social media person, but on Twitter, I'm Envy Plays Games, Envy with an I, so ENVI Plays Games. And then on Instagram, I mostly post my artwork stuff there, so I'm Doodle Me Alive. I'm also Doodle Me Alive on Facebook. Really feeling pros, cans with strings, and pro pen energy these days. Also, I'm also resting, but also snail mail postcard or artwork deck. That month, it's a new card, and it tells me that it's completed.
I love that. You can find me at your nearest pneumatic tube. Fem Freak, be a criticism goodness from me. For the Patreon supporters.
Thanks so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the Patreon. That's great. We did great.
We did it.
No, but we have to do it. We have to do it at the same time. Kat, you ready?
Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.
We did it.
As smooth as ever.
Guys, we did it. Holy shit, we did it. You like a come to Jesus moment. We did it. I finished that and I solved all of this woman's problems. Anita's problem, which she admits to in this, I don't think she realized. She told us all, and I've said this many times during this experience. She's burned out. She's unhappy because she wants to be the hero in somebody else's eyes and life. She wants to be that inspirational person that uplifts other people and helps them solve their problems, but she finds it unfulfilling in the job that she has, that she created for herself, because it's soulless. And what she likes, that she has said over and over again in this episode of this podcast, is that she found great enjoyment from working with another person and being friends and a partner with another person and trying to achieve this goal. So what would make Anita happy is by finding a man, having that friendship, having that partnership with someone, and being a mother and being that superhero, that role model, that person that's always going to be there for another person, and being that type of inspirational person. Because a little kid that always will look up to their mother, always looks up to their parents in that kind of superhero-esque type lighting. Like their parents are everything. Their parents are their world. Their parents are these invincible, entities of love and comfort. And they're what the little kids that look up to their parents. That's what would make Anita fulfilled in life. And that's every time she explained that she's burned out, that she's not fulfilled, that she's not enjoying this, it's the working. And everything that she described that she would find fulfilling is being a mother and being a part of a partnership. But she's a feminist, and feminists have deemed mothers and the family unit as failures. So she will never do the thing that she biologically is designed to do, and that what she has admitted in her own words longs to do, and what she has actually found fulfilling in life. That's really sad. But that's the path that she has set herself up for, and she's never going to be happy until she does what she wants. But she'll never admit that she wants it, and she'll most likely never do it because she has too much pride and ignorance. And she's probably actually a little bit of afraid of being called a failure for doing that. She can't admit that that's what she wants. And I think probably deep down she knows it. And that's why she's so spiteful. That's why she's so vindictive to other people, because she can't actually do what she wants, because she doesn't want to be deemed a failure, and she doesn't want to be seen a failure in other people's eyes, because she's self-conscious in that aspect, because she cares about what other people say and what other people perceive her as, because like she already admitted, she likes being that spokesperson. She likes being that inspiration for other people. She likes telling people her opinions and her feelings on things and having that position of authority as that inspirational superhero-like figure. So she's never going to be happy until she comes to terms with what she actually wants, which she will never do. That's really sad. But I think honestly, I think that's one of the major problems that women have now in today's society, is that they're denying their own biological designs and instincts to do this thing that other women have deemed they should do, and they're denying their own wants and desires and passions. And I think that's why a lot of women are, fundamentally depressed. It's really, really sad. But you can only help someone so much, and you can't help a person that doesn't want to be helped and will fight you tooth and nail for it. It's really, really sad. All right. That's what I have to say about that. Fade, do you guys think I'm right? I'm going to ask that in the chat. We're going to do another poll. We're going to see if you guys agree with me. Okay. Start a Q&A. Oh, no, start a poll. Oh. Where's start a poll? Okay. Put the poll in the chat. You guys can go and vote in it. I'll take a look at it in a minute. Faded Ink, thank you for the $10 super chat. I don't think many people understand the original movement in the 60s was weighed toward the males of voting for equality, 40 and 60-year-old men 60, women trying to take it back due to very hard work. What do you mean? I don't, shit, I'm sorry. I feel bad. I don't completely understand what you're talking about. Oh, Snakes, thank you for being a member for 1 month. Hope you can make it to EFAP 250. Also, hi, Rags. I haven't spoken to Mahler in like a year, if not longer. So I don't know if I will be there for EFAP 50. You'll have to talk to, I don't know when it is either. 250, excuse me. You'll have to talk to him about that. Russell, thanks about, you realize none of us could make any of that out. That's fine, Russell. I could. Tyler Harris, thank you for the 10. Press X to doubt Anna. The woman is 40 years old. The only dude she is getting with is a placeholder boyfriend she does not respect. She wants the Chad she constantly demonizes, but will never look her way. But see, that's it. That's why I'm right, is because she denied all of that in her 20s. If she would be a much happier woman is if when she was in her 20s, when she was in the prime of her life, she went out with the guy that she was too good for. She married him and she became a partner with him and they had children, and she'd be much happier now. She would, but she didn't because she's a feminazi. All right, let me check the poll on here. Oh, look at that. 81% of you guys said I was right. And then 11% said I didn't before, but do now. And then 7% said not really. I'm winning. I never win my own polls. That's cool. Patrick T, thank you for that. What is your current Twitch schedule? Don't think I'm on that schedule yet. I don't have a schedule. I just do it whenever I feel like it. I actually might do it in like 10 minutes. I think I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. I think I'm going to go pee and then start up a Twitch stream and play Jedi Fallen Order for a few hours and then go to bed. Because I've been up all day. So I think I might actually do that. So yeah, guys, thanks so much for hanging out. This 527 people. I really appreciate it. I'm going to take a little break. I think I'll take like a 20-minute break. I'm going to go to the bathroom. And then I'm going to go onto my Twitch and play Jedi Fallen Order. So if you guys aren't following me on Twitch, let me pull that up. I got the hiccups. This is my Twitch. It's literally just that Star Wars girl. Go over and follow me on Twitch. And I'm going to start playing some video games soon. So I've been playing Jedi Fallen Order. I just got to Kashyyyk. So I got to beat the Kashyyyk level. So yeah, I'll do that. I have a video coming out on this channel, this YouTube channel at 10 a.m. And it's about, so literally last night, one of the writers for The Witcher went off on the fans and then implied that there was stuff going on behind the scenes, which is why the show wasn't good, meaning Henry Cavill. So I have a video covering that, and I tweeted him, and I'm pretty sure once he wakes up, he's going to block me, but that's what my video is about. I'm going to cut up this live stream and post it as individual videos. But yeah, so I'm going to take a 20-minute break, and then I'll be live over here on Twitch. So go over there and follow me. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out. YouTube has really been suppressing this channel and all of that. So I really do appreciate every single one of you that did show up for this live stream. I know it was early, but I'm on my vampire schedule right now. So I'll probably be on Twitch for, let's say, 2 hours. My goal is to do 2 hours, but obviously I got too much into this game because you can see my play time was 3.5 hours and then 5.5 hours. So my goal is to only play on Twitch for 2 hours. So I'll be over there in like 20 minutes and playing Jedi Fallen Order, and then I'll be on there for 2 hours. So if you guys want to come hang out in the chat, that'd be awesome. Help me build up this Twitch. And yeah, I'll see you guys over there. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for being here. Let me like this stream. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this, if you guys thought my analysis was right. And I'll see you guys in like 20 minutes. So yeah. Or if not, if you guys aren't going to go over there, then have a great rest of your day, morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And may the force be with you, because we are really, really, really gonna need it. Bye, everyone. See you in a few.
I'll tell you where I thought I came in the forest, when the lightsaber goes like this and flies off. I said, oh, what a great entrance. Ah! Ray caught it? She hasn't even been to